And good evening, everyone. Thank you for showing up this week for Comic Book Spectrum. It's Thursday, March 9th, 2023. How time is flying by. It's going to be like March 10th one of these days. Who knows? But anyway, we've got some comic book reviews and some discussion later that we're going to have some fun with. And we're going to have fun because you're going to give your comments if you're here live. And if you're not live, you're going to leave them down below and we'll have a conversation that way. But anyway, thank you for being here. And we're going to get this party started in about 1 minute.
10 seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How dare you!
Well, Greta, we share a lot of things around here, like take a week off. Thank you, everyone, for your patience, but we're back again and going strong, and we're going to bring the other four, yes, I said four guys out later, but first we've got to say some thank yous. First of all, we want to say thank you to our Patreon supporters. Patreon's a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly with a modest monthly stipend. And we've got a brand new member, Rick Welchins. Thank you for joining us on this. And if you want to find out what these wonderful people get in return for their support, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and find out. You'll be glad you did. I will too. And also, we want to say that this is also brought to you by Rising Tide Publications. The Terrors is in the final edits, as in the 10th anniversary edition of Santastein, coming out in its 11th year. That's right, folks. We've got this timing down. Anyway, please check it out. Go to www.risingtide.pub for all kinds of information about our publishing ventures and broadcasting. And also, Plasma Fire Graphics is on board as our regular sponsor. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Great books don't happen overnight. It takes a lot of work, and thus you want to get it the best cover you can possibly get to attract people. And also, you're going to need maybe a book trailer, maybe some graphics to help sell it on social media. Well, this is your lucky day, because Jeffrey Hayes, who is up for a Pulp Factory Award for his great art on his great covers, please check out my page and Clyde's for more information on voting in the Pulp Factory Awards. But also, you want him working for you, so maybe your book will be nominated for an award. So check out plasmafiregraphics.com. Also check out their Facebook page, check out the samples, and then ask Jeffrey about his indie creator-friendly pricing. You will be glad you did business with Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And we're going to run a disclaimer there, and then we are going to bring out my four favorite people on Thursday night. Oh, wait a minute. These guys showed up. Anyway, we have Clyde Hall, Brian Rodman, Eric Hawkins, and Jody McFee. Gentlemen, how the heck are you?
Right.
Living.
Yes.
Basking in the goodness here of Jeffrey Hayes's Major Marjorie, which is up for the Pulp Factory Award.
And
That's-
so are you.
I am.
Clyde Hall too.
Wait,
yes.
you got nominated for an individual?
I did for
It's a
my
short
story
story.
in Pulp Reality #4, which is also
Yeah.
for Best Anthology of the Year is up for a possible award. So
Yes, and also Jeffrey Hayes did the illustration in Pulp Reality 4 for my story. Too many
and
goes for number 17. So
that too, which I saw on a shirt this week that wasn't mine. A friend bought the shirt. He's like, I love that shirt. I love it. So he's walking around with my book cover on his shirt and my name all emblazoned on it. And I was like, I'm so proud.
Awesome.
I do have to ask,
Yes.
when you win it, are you going to spike the football?
Okay, first of all, I am not counting on any. This is the first nomination, and the other person in the category that was nominated, he's been doing this a long time, and he's very good.
Yes.
So I'm just honored to be nominated. So I got no plans.
Well,
Clyde's going to go up there and smack the presenter.
Yep.
No.
Well, no. I'm, it's like, I don't want to be the only one here with, of course.
Oh, here we go.
Well, you have to
He
understand
tried.
that he haven't finished his end zone dance, so that's the reason why.
That's true. That's true. Yes, and we don't know yet whether he's going to court controversy and drop a knee or anything. So it's like now I may, if I have to go up and get it, because I'll be at the ceremony, but that's only because I got bad knees. So that's the only
I
reason.
think you should do a celebratory streaking through your streets. Just
Like you
record
heard
it
him.
and post
Hey,
it live.
if I happen to win,
Yeah.
please don't. I'd like to record the moment. I don't want to have a pixel bar running around on this.
With that though, you can always be extra flattering and just have like a 3-foot long bar that travels with you. That would
That's
be
what I'm
great.
planning on.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Continued in the next
Why do I have a
next
picture?
vulgar
Why
video.
do I
It's
have
like-
a picture of the cover of Giant Size Man thing?
There you go.
Going across the street.
Showing off my man thing. That's right, my guy.
Clyde's like, who's pretending? Come on. No, it really is.
I'll do a David Niven. I'll do a David Niven on you.
There we go.
Why must some people run around showing off their shortcomings? I know.
No, I think Clyde would be like me last year during the ceremony. I'm sitting there with Cookie, and it's like, okay, winner this year is Brian K. Morris. I'm like, yeah, right. Sure, you bet. Waiting for the punchline now. So I understand, but now that I have one, I crave one like heroin's, another one like heroin. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, no, I want to wish everyone good luck with the Pulp Factory Awards, and especially my man Clyde here and Jeffrey Hayes. And Charles F. Millhouse of Stormgate Press, because Pulp Reality is also up for Best Anthology again.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to make it a 4-peat.
I'm just saying, if it doesn't win, it's because of me.
No.
It's the only logical explanation.
No,
I'm in there too. So there we go. I'm dragging
You
down
were
the
in there
curve.
last year and it won, and the year before that, and the year before.
That's what I mean. Me
Change
too.
my mind, then I'm good.
Been in all four, so people are tired of us. They're not going to let us have it again. So
that's the reason why I believe you're going to win, because the other person has been there for years. They know his style.
See, that's what I'm thinking too, Clyde.
Okay. I don't know. The other person is Ron Fortier, and he really does some good stories, and
he does.
So
and the book
I'm
sounds
knocking his
good.
talent at all.
I
mean,
but his last name sounds too hard to pronounce, so they might just go for you for that reason.
Yeah. It's like, I tried 3 times, it didn't work. Clyde Hall. Let's come on up here. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Eric's got a point. Except the thing is, I know who the guy who will be presenting the award. It's Ron. So
there you go. So
if he hasn't learned how to pronounce his name,
He can't pronounce his own name. He doesn't deserve the award. That's all I have.
Oh yeah, well only if he can't pronounce his own name. No, seriously, I'm with Clyde. He's a super writer. He really is.
He's presenting the award, and he is he's nominated. So like, what is he just like? And the winner is me.
Yes, yes. I'd like to thank me for this award. No, Ron's one of the nicest guys around. He really is, and he's a terrific writer. And in fact, he's got he's done a bunch of comic books, including the very first comic book that Alex Ross ever did.
Wow.
Terminator: The Burning Earth from Now Comics. And he's also done he also did a classic run of the Green Hornet back in the 80s, which introduced the idea of a multi-generational Hornet and Kato.
Yeah.
You know, so a fantastic writer, really nice guy. And
that came after the original Now series, if I'm correct.
The Terminator did. That was from Now Comics.
No, I'm talking about the generational Green Hornets.
No, the generational Green Hornet was the Now Comics. Yeah.
On the original one, I thought that was normally like Tales of the Green Hornet. That was
a spin-off of the regular Green Hornet book.
Okay.
So
all I know is
comic fight.
The only true green. Listen, hey, the only true green Green Hornet here is what's his face's movie. That's Chef's Kiss right there.
Yeah. Intermittently.
Seth Rogen as Green Hornet. That was so awful.
That movie, I have to admit, Seth Rogen's movie made Kano look epic.
Kato was amazing.
Kato was fantastic.
Yeah. But everything else about that movie was awful. Except
I was getting to the point where I was practically predicting Rogen's dialogue. Oh, that's how bad it was. And
Kevin Smith write that?
No.
I don't think so.
He had something to do with it.
He produced it, I think.
Yeah, I think he produced it. And he also wrote another screenplay for a Green Hornet film that would have been good, but it wound up becoming a Dynamite comic.
Yeah, he ended up doing the Green Hornet Batman 66.
Right, that was another one. That was good. But yeah, I'm not saying that
I can't find my copy now, so I'm not worried about it.
Well, that's what Wikipedia is for.
Right.
I'm not saying
later.
Well, I'm not saying that the Green Hornet was lame, but it can park real close to the front door, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, I'm a big fan of the old television series.
Oh, I have the old television series on bootleg DVD.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
I have it in my DVD binder over there.
Oh, you stud, you.
I know. Look at me from the 80s and 90s.
I know. Probably not even alive when that thing came out.
Oh, no, I wasn't alive. I got the reruns, though. I watched that.
I don't think I was.
The Batman 66 show on reruns. They always played back-to-back whenever I was a kid.
I watched them first run, but I was very small, and I do remember Batman was just so silly. I love the look, but I would get about halfway through the episode and be like, "This is so silly," and I would be kind of turned off by. And then Green Hornet came on,
that was serious.
I was like, "Yeah, this is a serious kind of a crime show with a," and so I started gravitating toward that. Then they had Batgirl on Batman.
And that you were like me, Clyde. It's like as soon as Yvonne Craig showed up, it's like, oh yeah, I want to watch Batman now.
Yeah. We started season 3 as a boy, but we left season 3 as a man. I get that. But if you ever get a chance on YouTube, they have Bruce Lee's screen test.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And that's a joy to watch. Mm-hmm. Especially when he's trying to kick the old man's face and the old man just can't react in time to it. I'm surprised that like the top of his head isn't like fluttering off into the background. So but speaking of fluttering off to the background, let's go to our comments. We have comments. The first in the gate is Ted Davies Artistry. Good evening, superheroes. Good evening to you, Ted. Hey, we just saw your video with Chrissy that Drinking with the Davies is coming back.
Woohoo!
So, yay! Hey, also
Friday Nights in Order.
Ted Davies, he did the illustrations for my story. So if it happens to win, it's not my award entirely. It's also Ted. So thank you, Ted.
Okay. Well, and also if Jeffrey Hayes wins, it's really for the interior for my story. But anyway,
There you go.
Jeffrey would understand. And Donna, Carly, how you doing? Hope you're having a good night. And Lissy, to you. Glad to see you. And Sarah has graced us. Evening to you. Hope you're doing well, huh? Everyone's saying hello to each other. And hi, glad to be around positive people. What a relief. And Sarah has her sniper scope needs adjusting because she said she's missed Ted. And my own doing, but working on being more present as much as possible. We're glad you're here. You hope you're ready to have a good time. And this is so refreshing. We are like a summer lemonade for your brain. And everyone's saying love here and go streaking and lick spines to make it even more weird. Never mind, I don't have the money for your bail. Well, talk about de-incentivizing this. And
Get started
Sarah,
GoFundMe.
Yeah, I'm good at GoFundMes now. Anyway, I'm an expert. And Sarah says, got to make it all awkward and creepy. That's why we are friends. And too bad I don't have you guys on speaker while I'm at Walmart amongst big groups of people. It entertains me. When I did Nevermind the Furthermore, she would go to her local Walmart, turn her phone up top volume, and let everyone around her listen to me.
Yes.
That's her idea of fun. And Jennifer Hawkins, glad to see you tonight. Hope you're doing well and interesting. I never actually looked into Green Hornet. Not sure why, just haven't.
You should.
Before your time, actually. But it's worth checking out. As camp and as fun and funny as the Batman show was at that time, the Green Hornet is not done for laughs. And Bruce Lee, I'm not saying he was a scene stealer, but I found out later that when the show aired in Japan and Hong Kong, it was retitled The Kato Show. Yes.
Yeah.
It is good stuff. And yay for Ted and Chrissy. How exciting. Clyde, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. And
Thank me.
Thank you, Brian. And anyway,
thanks, Brian. Yes.
Whoa. and I'll be the one and I'll probably be the one collecting the awards. So I will make this fair and see that neither one gets it.
Well, you did good, but I dropped it on the way back to the seat, so I'm
it'd be like, why is this, why does Brian have a hammer and a chisel? Why has it got his
even
name
better
on
just in Sharpie, just marks out Clyde Hall.
There you go.
Not even a Sharpie, it would be masking tape.
That's what I was thinking.
It's gonna be crooked. Yeah. And my luck, I'll misspell my own name. But anyway.
Hey, where's Carl at?
Carl.
Yeah, where is he?
Yeah.
Donna, did you hide him?
No, it wouldn't be Donna. Donna's fine. It probably was Duma. Dumas did something.
That could be. But anyway, we are going to move on now. We have got some stuff ready for y'all, and of course, we gotta go with the man here, the one, the only. We can hope, Mr. Brian Rodman. Brian, what have you got for us this week?
Joke's on you. I've cloned myself thrice. This week's review is actually,
so this is what Brian Rodman uppercrust the third that we're talking to right now.
Oh, I'm the original.
That's what a clone would say.
That's what a clone.
Multiplicity.
Man. Oh, when you do a copy and then you copy of a copy, and that last copy is just not as sharp. I love that movie.
I must be a clone in the morning. Then.
Oh, bye, Steve. Good party.
Or we have the thing. Carl is unhappily attending a high school reunion committee meeting. Dear God,
sounds fun.
My condolences. I'm so sorry.
Did he take along his list of themes for the get together? Because that'd get him off the committee real quick.
Zombie themes for a high school reunion is the only way I'm going. Otherwise, nope.
I think I've got the solution. Just as long as he forgets that it's
live from my high school reunion.
What are all those villagers doing with the torches and pitchforks? Oh, it's just Carl with a new idea for the prom committee.
This week's review for me is actually a more extensive version of it. Will be posted tomorrow on our Facebook page, but it is another edition of Comic Book Rewind. And this week is actually really something really special to me for multiple reasons. The first one you're just going to understand immediately when I show you the artwork that is on here.
Who's that guy? Who drew that?
I think it might be Mike Mignola. I don't know.
Who's that?
This was dying.
That guy needs to work.
Now I miss Carl. I wanted that face. That was
Yeah.
It's like, who is that?
I will murder you. So
I'll be over here filling out my last will and testament. Go ahead, Brian.
Back in the day, when Dracula came out, Francis Ford Coppola, well, not when Dracula first came out, that was a long time ago. When this movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, came out in, I think, 93, 94? I can't really remember.
About that time.
Yeah, around there. Mike Mignola was brought in to pencil the comic book adaptation, and there's a really cool story. He tells it in a couple interviews, which I'm surprised it wasn't. He didn't tell it in the documentary, but they didn't even talk about this in that documentary. But he actually was brought into a private screening of an early screening of the film with it was just him, Mike Mignola, Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas.
Ooh.
And they wanted his opinion on what the movie looked like, and because he was going to be penciling the comic, and surprisingly, this is probably. I mean, I want to say, if I'm correct, I want to say the scene at the beginning where Vlad Dracula is not a vampire yet. And it shows him, going through fighting the Turks, and a lot of it's like puppetry in the background. That was Mike Mignola's idea.
The marionettes looking thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Francis Ford Coppola did it, and he did. Mike Mignola said he didn't know that was going to end up in the movie. He was like, "That'd be cool." Then he did it, and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" But anyway.
92, by the way.
92. Okay. So that movie, though, is probably the most Mignola-esque looking movie I have ever seen, which is really interesting because Coppola, essentially what Mike Mignola, his style, everything kind of looks like it's like lit by candlelight. That same style is how Coppola wanted the movie to be shot. So like everything's on sets, like nothing was on, nothing was on location. It was all miniatures. It was all matte paintings. It was all closed sets, really dark, solid blacks working against, stark lighting, and just very Mignola-esque. And I rewatched it recently. Because it's one of my favorite movies to watch. I love Dracula, by the way. It's my favorite novel. And so anyway, when this edition came out, so Topps came out right alongside the movie, the Topps individuals. I think there's like 4 issues individually, and they were in full color, all that jazz. But this edition, hardback edition, which is nice, this edition though is in black and white, which in my opinion is the best way to view Mike Mignola's art. It's just, I mean, look at that. Just phenomenal looking. And it's just overall a brilliant piece. I could literally stare at this artwork for forever. And my favorite, no joke, my favorite illustration in this entire book is on the back. That's Van Helsing holding the bride's heads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just so epic. And, he's always got, Mignola always has those like tree trunk torso people everybody's just so wide, which I relate to. And yeah, the book itself is great. It was wonderful to revisit this. I mean, the story isn't any different than the movie. It's no different than it's a little different than the book, because that book is just a lot to put into a movie. But they did it, I think, the best it's ever done, staying true to the book. Not a huge fan of the love story that they added into it, but apparently with anything vampires, you have to have a love story. I don't know why. But anyway, here's another nice huge panel of Lucy after she's become a vampire. Van Helsing.
Can you show us
Anthony
a Gary
Hopkins.
Oldman butthead?
Yes, I can. I can absolutely show you that. He's got a hat on there.
Van Helsing
he has a
doesn't
hat
look-
on and like everything.
Van Helsing doesn't look like Hugh Jackman in that. What's the deal?
Yeah, Van Helsing.
Blasphemy!
Van Helsing looks like he's supposed to.
Oh, okay.
All right, here you go, Eric. Butthead Dracula,
There you go.
right there. I love it. And if you like this version of Dracula, which I really do, you'll love Leslie Nielsen's version of Dracula. In Dracula Dead and Loving It. But no, full review will be on tomorrow's Facebook page. But this is for sale on Amazon. It is a really cool companion comic. I prefer the comic over the movie, because I don't have to listen to Keanu Reeves' terrible accent. Everything else about the movie
It comes and goes throughout the movie.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. But anyway, this comic, this rendition, of course, 10 out of 10, like you thought it was going to be anything else. But I'll talk about what it means to me personally in the review posted tomorrow, and really why you should consider getting this. I read Dracula the novel in some variation every year, but this has, regardless of how else I read it or listen to it or whatever, I read this probably 3 times a year because it's just so good. The pacing, the artwork, the writing, the dialogue, everything perfect. So good. So look for the review tomorrow. Pick this up on Amazon. Fantastic. Make sure it's black and white. It's better. Trust me.
There we go. Cool. It does sound good.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you, Brian. And
no problem.
let's see, we've got some more comments. We've got Paul Bush just came in. Paul, how you doing, my friend? And everyone. And Ted Davies is having a dorkgasm here.
I knew when he showed up, I was like, he's gonna be real happy when I show my book. So yeah, it's great. It's Ted. If you don't have that book, shame. You need it. You need someone to follow you down the street naked and ring a bell.
And Brian volunteers.
Don't overexert yourself. That's a good bell ringing.
All right. Yeah. Be sure to mark off on your bingo cards. Bell ringing for Brian. So
naked bell ringing.
Naked bell ringing.
Yeah. Shame.
There we go. Yeah, it wouldn't work with me because I have none. But anyway, thank you, Brian. And who would like to go next? I see Mr. Hawkins has his hand in the air.
I'll go.
All right, here he is, Mr. Eric S. Hawkins.
So my book is, nope, that's the wrong one. But this is Wizard 48. Can you see that name right there?
Oh my goodness!
What?
I have that issue.
What?
I do too.
Yeah. So when are you getting it slabbed?
Yeah, this thing's been through. What that come out 94, 95, 95. It's been, but I think the book I have here is older than that. Now it's beat up really, really bad. Because I have had it for years and I read it quite a bit. Looks superb.
Yeah.
Dude, that looks exactly like my copy, beat up and everything.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's all now. As Rodman mentioned about his book, you can get this on Amazon, the hardback, right now for under $25.
Nice.
Ooh.
This collects all the James O'Barr crows.
Mhm.
If you don't know anything about the Crow, it came out in 1989, the year I graduated high school. And several different Crows have come out since then through different publishers, not written by O'Barr, and they all suck. So just the only one worth anything is the original series, which they made a movie about and got Brandon Lee killed. But James O'Barr came up with a story, supposedly. Now, there's different things going around now, because about 7 years ago, a guy came out and said he was the inspiration for the Crow, and James O'Barr made everything up.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So and he's even got a YouTube video on it, which has had like 300 views.
that many. Wow.
Wow.
And people are agreeing with him. But James O'Barr did the Crow to deal with the a death close to him, to deal with the sadness and all that. And he put out a very good story with art. The art's not always great. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's kind of weird looking. Sometimes it's exceptional. It goes back and forth, but it's a really good book. If you like goth horror, suspense, and revenge, mystical crows telling you what to do, this is the book for you. Because Eric in the book, which is another reason I like it. In the book, his girlfriend and him are on a car ride. They break down. They're working on the car, and a gang comes up and shoots Eric in the head, but it doesn't kill him, just paralyzes him. While he's laying there, he gets to watch them beat and do things to his girlfriend, and then kill her, then continue to do things to his girlfriend. And then he dies in the hospital, but he is brought back by a crow later on to exact his revenge on the ooh, I think I just heard a rip. Well, see, there's a good drawing. I like that one. Even the one over here is really good. But some of it just, it's once you start reading it, you'll kind of not pay as much attention to the art, I think.
I think it bounces back and forth between really realistic and kind of cartoony. And
some of it's really independent looking cartoony, because it was an independent book. And then you have like some charcoal drawings. You have some paintings in here. You got, this looks nothing like the other pages, you know?
Right.
But the one thing you will find in this book, and I don't know if I can find it real quick, that you will not find. Well, no, I can't show that. That's nudity. Hold on here.
More nudity.
The skeleton cowboy did not show up in the movie, even though it was filmed. That is another character from the book. That
have you seen the stills of the deleted scene?
Yeah. I mean, for that time, 94, I think.
Pretty good.
It looked good for that time.
Yeah.
I wish they would have filmed, included that instead of cutting it. But there's another Crow movie, supposedly in post-production now. It's supposedly already been filmed. I don't know when it's going to come out.
Doesn't it have Bill Skarsgård in it?
Skarsgård and is it Danny Huston?
I thought you were going to say DeVito.
No, Danny DeVito
is the Crow.
But and throughout this book, you'll find poetry and all kinds of different things in this collected edition. I like. There's another one. I mean, it's.
Mm-hmm.
It just bounces back and forth so much, and he really doesn't do anything anymore that I know of.
No, he just does shows.
You'll find him at shows. He'll sell you prints, and he'll draw blood on the crow for you.
Yeah.
If you want.
I actually have a print of his that he signed, and
I do too. Yeah.
I talked to him for like maybe 3 seconds because he didn't even look at me. He's a weird guy, but he's really nice.
Yeah. He's just a weird guy. He's from Detroit, so that happens. You know? Right, Ted?
Ted's not from Detroit, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, is he?
Ted and I are both.
I didn't know you were from Detroit.
I was born up there.
I know too many people from Detroit.
Case closed.
But I do recommend The Crow if you like. I mean, it's a good story, and it's one of my favorite books to read, and it's one of my favorite movies. I mean, even after all these years, and especially the music. The music is so good in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, I would recommend anyone go pick up The Crow.
Excellent.
That's it.
Oh, all right, he's done.
Second edition of
That is
Comic
really
Book
seriously, I remember when it
Rewind.
came out. Yeah, I remember when it came out. It was a really, really good book.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to wonder, you mentioned the disparity between some of the illustrations. I wonder if some of them were, he had models or reference.
Yeah, he did use reference on some of the stuff. Some people said he traced stuff, but I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
It would look better than it does.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of it was
everybody
also,
uses reference. So
yeah, I think also some of it was like with the more poetic, parallels. I think he was trying to be a little more serious with the artwork in that, like more realistic with the artwork in those sections. But then I think the sequentials, he just kind of, his style went a little more comic book cartoony. He almost kind of looks like an exaggerated Frank Miller at times.
Yeah,
a little bit. I could see that style there.
And he tried, different types of media throughout the book and doing different things. Yeah,
I love it though.
Yeah, it's a good book. All right.
At the time it came out, I was working at a comic shop, and so I got the series in individual book form from back then. But we were really taken with it. I mean, everybody, regular readers, were really taken with that first issue, hooked hard because we could feel there was obviously some deep feelings and emotions behind it.
Yeah,
and it showed. It was a simple Revenant tale. I mean, we were all like, we've seen High Plains Drifter, and this is kind of a High Plains Drifter sort of story, but the execution was really good. And then as the series went along, we're like, okay, it's sort of like a Star Trek franchise. The first book is really good. The second one was a little weaker. Then the third book was really good. And then and the artwork, I think, kind of played into that sometimes too. It was like, well, kind of got cartoonish looking here, but then he was right back on track with this. So, but
you remember when John Connor from Terminator 2 was the Crow in like one of the fifth movie or whatever it was?
No,
I tried to watch the second movie, and I didn't watch any more after that. I was like, nope.
The second one is nowhere near as bad as the rest.
That's
of them.
City of Angels.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, there's a TV series too.
Yeah,
but I didn't watch that either.
There is a TV series. That's a word for it.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Well, anyway, thank you very much, Eric, for that. And we've got some more comments here. Lizzie says, I'll have to check that out. I like graphic novel versions of books. I think it makes lit more accessible to people who need visuals. That's true. And the nice thing is that, Roy Thomas, if you're talking about, I know you're talking about the Dracula book. Roy Thomas did the adaptation. In my opinion, he's one of the best adaptation people in the history of comics.
Did he do Batman Forever as well?
No, I think that was Denny O'Neil. But Denny did a great job on that, too.
Oh, yeah. That one, honestly, that's up there. One of my favorite adaptations.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. I still have my copy of it. It's great.
I do, too. Yeah. And Roy Thomas, probably as far as adaptations go, was probably most famous for bringing Conan the Barbarian to Marvel originally, and then King Kull and several other features like that too. So yeah, definitely check that out. Sarah agrees with me. Beat up means well loved. There we go. All right. Glenn Fleming says, Brian, I need to book a spot on this show. Hatch, what's up? Indiegogo sign up link right there. Well, there you go, folks. Sign up for that book. I didn't edit it, so take your chances. But anyway, Brian, you laugh, but have you seen his spelling? Glenn's spelling is awful. He spells like honor with a U in it.
And
or color.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the reason we dumped all the tea in the harbor, just to get away from that kind of illiteracy.
It was the U's. That's what it was.
The U's, yeah. Ooh. We're like, oohs. But anyway, we love you, Glenn. We'll print that for you, I promise. And got the comics, Rodman. Get your bell. Just kidding. I'll order the book. Instead, he's passing up the chance to see you naked, ringing a bell behind him. And maybe
he's naked and I'm ringing the bell. But we can both be naked if we want to.
Is my Freudian slip showing again? I'm sorry. Anyway, Lizzie says made everything up. Hate to break it to that guy, but that's what writers do.
This guy, he goes. It's like it's a 40-minute video of how he met O'Barr in '88 in a bar.
Okay.
Where
that's original.
It was a goth bar, and there was a guy in there crying at the bar, and supposedly it was O'Barr, and he had just the guy asked him what's going on. He said I just lost 5 friends in a car accident, and just came back from their funeral and stuff. So this guy goes in to start researching these people who died and all this, and he's saying that he thinks he's the one that killed them all, and the story is based on him somehow, even though he doesn't factor into this at all because he didn't even know James O'Barr. But he thinks O'Barr is Top in the book, or the main bad guy.
Okay.
And not Eric Draven. I went, dude, yeah. Just go look up. Yeah, if you just look up James O'Barr, you'll find it on YouTube.
I don't want to. I don't want to give that guy any views.
This guy even starts crying while he's reading the obituaries of these.
What a crazy person!
Well, tune in next week when this show covers my creation of Superman. Anyway,
he sounds like James Barr's #1 fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm not just his fan. I am James Barr.
Oh, he even reached out to the family of the girl that died supposedly in the accident, who was named Shelley, and asked the family to get the funeral book with all the signatures of who came to the funeral, so he could see if James O'Barr was really in there.
Oh my!
And he goes, well, understandably, they told me no. Duh.
You think?
What is wrong with this guy?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cats.
Talk about needing attention. Jeez.
It doesn't sound like his spine got all the staples it needs.
He'd probably kick a puppy.
He probably would. He'd probably kill a puppy. He's probably done it before.
Probably do worse than that. It's illegal. Anyway, and Lizzie says, I've already read it when I was still an angsty teen at home. Would read it again. It was a good story, yes. And Donna Carlene says, the movie was good and the TV series wasn't bad. And Hawkins from the Hood too. Yeah. Yo. And Sarah says, I figured different art styles for different moods at the time. Well, that's very possible. Everyone's saying hello and Glenn and hike up that Freudian slip or be like, are you being served, and say it will ride up with where? Ooh, it could. I have something to look forward to now. Thank you, Sarah. So anyway, we will get on with more reviews, but first of all, I'm going to take the con here for a moment and remind everybody, like Eric did, that we do have a Facebook page for this show. I have been lax the last couple of weeks in posting reviews.
I don't believe I said anything about it.
It was I.
Nobody
Eric,
cares about post.
Eric, it's always you. It doesn't matter what we say.
That's the reason why he has D in front of it, because everything is about the Eric S. Hawkins.
You're the void.
We stare into, right? And Eric stares back at us.
No, I thought he was the brass ring that we always supposed to reach towards.
That's not a ring. Just letting you know, guys.
I thought he was annoyed. I guess I was just. I wanted to order pizza from him, so I misheard.
Yeah, no, you heard right. He was annoyed, all right. But anyway, I will be getting back to posting soon. I've had an out of town trip that was really out of town, and also had some work issues, and since I'm self-employed, you know what that is about.
And a birthday.
That's true. I had a birthday. That's right. And thank you to everyone who posted on my Facebook page. It is as humbling as telling your wait person that it's my birthday. You know, they all sing to you, which fortunately I didn't have happen to me. But anyway.
But they also usually bring you a free dessert too.
Oh, that's true. I should have mentioned that. I put up with 30 seconds of happy birthday for a free dessert. No, actually, we for my birthday we went to an actual Cajun restaurant.
Ooh, okay.
In Arkansas, of all places, right? What's his Cajun like Arkansas?
It was awesome.
Yeah, but it was great. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. And also, and here we go. Sarah says, "You're welcome. Always glad to help with your slip riding up with where." We're going to have to talk, Sarah. We will talk. And Teresa, done evening all. Sorry I'm late, Teresa. Well, glad you're here. Hope your evening is going well. But anyway, I will get back to posting soon. I've got a couple dozen reviews in the hopper, just waiting for production. And also, we'll be talking about some of our recent acquisitions, such as the final issue of Monkey Prince, which I'm going to go on a limb, and it's a very sturdy one, saying it's one of the best comics DC has put out in years. You want representation and quality, it's the book for you. Also, Vampire's Carmilla Fear book, the 2023 edition, it's great. Also, Batman and Robin #5, the wrap-up, thank the Lord of the Lazarus Planet debacle. So anyway,
sad.
it's a hate crime. Anyway, but we do have some other books that came in that we're happy with. We'll be reviewing, such as the #1 issue of the new Dawn of DC book, Adventures of Superman, John Kent, which is going to tie into the Injustice comics, which are excellent. And this is excellent. You will enjoy it. And I got one of the variant covers. I got the Jim Lee cover of the Shazam Fury of the Gods tie-ins. Now, what makes this special is that the cast of the movie either wrote or helped write their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all about them, with some help from people like Freddie Williams II, Colleen Duran, a whole bunch of people, Tim Seeley, Scott Collins. I'm looking for people I've heard of. This is going to take a while. Mike Norton, and of course, this one has the Jim Lee cover. Scott Williams and Jim Lee, good stuff there. Also, last week's Action Comics with a really cool cover. And the interiors are getting better. We'll be talking about that. And now you talk about stuff from the past. And Clyde, I think you'll like this. One of the things that Antarctic Press and Ben Dunn have been doing is they've started some new editions of classic Golden Age comics and continued the numbering. Okay, and one of them, which we have reviewed on this show, which I admit were either great or not great, was exciting, but I had to get this one. Can you see it, Clyde?
Herbie?
And Fat Man, the human flying saucer.
Yes. Okay, I was looking at the super guy in the front at first, but yeah, oh, there's Herbie. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Herbie is one of the coolest comics of the 60s by Richard Hughes and Ogden Whitney, who did Skyman. And he's this loser of a kid who, when the parents don't see him, he's actually like the stud. And he has superpowers that he gets from licking his lollipops. And Fat Man is, he can turn into a human flying saucer.
Yeah.
And it's done also by Otto Bender and C.C. Beck, who did so many great issues of Captain America. And there's other characters such as the Alternate and the Atomic Blonde by my buddy Dan Johnson. Shout out to my friend there. And also shout out to Larry Guidry, who did the very, very nice artwork on the story 2 Tons of Fury. And it is a loving homage to these stories here. John Holland, I believe, did the artwork. And you can see Fat Man going in action there because everybody knows all us fat guys can turn to aircraft. And
I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty rusty on it. But it's
now might not be the best time, actually, to be, flying saucerish or blimp-like.
That's true. Good point. Yeah, we having some hayseeds out there with their little 38s going ping, ping, ping. But anyway, but also was kind of fun.
We're thinking of the F-20s,
like the F-22, more like the F-22 coming right beside you. It's like,
yeah. Well, if I see an F-42 flying towards me, there was a saying from my misspent youth: first you say it, then you do it. Anyway, there's also a
UFO pooped on me. What's the deal?
I think those Chinese are using germ warfare now. But anyway, there is a cover display of the original Exciting Comics, which features the Black Terror, who will be featured in the Terrors, as well as the recent issues of Exciting from Antarctic Press. This is the 100, what would have been the 100th issue Otherwise, it's 31 of the new version. But we're going to be reviewing all of those on the Facebook page. So check out Comic Book Spectrum on the Facebook of the Book of Faces, and please sign up and check us out. All right. So anyway, that's my thing for this week. And so, Joe, are you ready?
As ready as I'm going to be for right
now.
Oh
dear. I love that confidence. Here we go. Joe, make us proud of you.
Yeah, well, people, you have to forgive me because there has not been comic book phone for this week. The reason why is because this is the month of C2E2. So I've been very, 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 very busy trying to get ready for C2E2. On top of that, guess what happened today? I ended up getting a big shipment of books in. So some of the things that I have already categorized into the collection as of right now, we got the 3rd issue of Doom Patrol. If my arm gets twisted, I might actually do that for a rewind for people to know the true history of the original Doom Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
For those who love my reviews for 8 Billion Genies, guess what I got here? I got a possible sketch version of issue number 1 that I might end up taking to C2E2 for possible commission purposes. Mm-hmm. We got issue 6 and 7, so we're only waiting for issue 8 to come out. Mm-hmm. So you might get reviews all the way up to 7 within the next couple of weeks, depending on how you vote. This would make certain people happy because now I'm increasing my collection of this as of right now. We have the Shadow issue 1 through 4.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So we got that to look forward to. That might also be in Rewind as well.
Oh, please do.
In addition to that, I broke my cardinal rule because I don't like graphic novels. But this is a collective series. So this is probably going to be the only way that I could read this and justify reading it without breaking the bank. And that is the hardcover of The Last Ronin.
Yep.
And that's pretty thick, for, I think, what did I pay for it? $30 for it. For the hardcover. That is a hardcover. That's not soft cover. That's hard.
Nice.
Yeah.
So in lieu of doing comic book phone, I just went ahead and picked one of the things that was going to be on comic book phone anyway, and we're just going to do that as a whole here. And the issue that I picked was Dual Powerbomb number 4.
Yes.
Nice.
So now we're going to continue on with the adventures of Lona and Crimson Sun to find out what's going to end up happening at the end of this tournament that they're in. So if you haven't been keeping up with Do a Powerbomb from Image Comics here, which is done by, I believe, is Daniel Warren Johnson is the writer and Mike Spicer is the artist on this. No, I got that wrong. Daniel Warren Johnson does the writing and the art, and only Mike Spicer is the colorist on this. So if you haven't kept up with it, with the first 3 issues, go stop this right now. If you're watching on a replay, go back to previous Comic Book Spectrum episodes, watch those first, and then come back and watch this one, because this one is going to be kind of short and sweet because it did a lot of things that I wasn't expecting it to do, but it gave us an unexpected twist. It gives people more motivation. So let's get into it. Now, issue number 4 pretty much starts off with kind of like a backstory of two of the wrestlers that makes up another team that's in this tournament. They're up here talking to the king of this one land and everything, and they're pretty much there to win this tournament to bring back I forgot what they said here. It was somebody close to the king that they were going to go back in. What I liked about this, they used what they call montages, so they show and it's really hard to tell within these panels because it's like a 1, 2, 3, I want to say almost like a 12 panel page here, doing like a training montage showing them doing all these different things to train and whatnot. So that scene shifts over to where Lona and Crimson Sun was up here, doing their training after they won their first bout and whatnot. And Crimson Sun actually sat down and had that heart-to-heart conversation talking about Lona's mom. Now, mind you, and I have not spoiled that I have not spoiled it because I already mentioned it before. Crimson Sun is actually Lona's dad, but Lona does not know it as of yet. She still thinks that is some other masked wrestler that, was very close to her mom. So she doesn't understand the guilt that her father has for the accident that happened in issue number 1. So, he was talking about like their compatibility in the ring and how, having actual compatibility in the ring makes a tag team that much stronger and everything. And he was up here, it's like telling her about having the perfect flow and everything. And she kind of agrees and asked him to show her how they could have that perfect flow and whatnot. So now they have a training montage here, which is like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, another 12 panel page per se in this training montage and whatnot. And then all of a sudden it skips directly into the match, which I don't like the fast forward like that. I want them to kind of build up to the next match they're in, but they throw you right into round 2 of the tournament. And pretty much Lona is getting, at first she was like got the upper hand, and then the other person tagged in, and then lo and behold, this is what's going to end up happening. She gets the stuffing beat out of her. I mean, literally from stem to stern was just getting mollywopped. And pretty much all hopes was about to be dashed and everything. Crimson Sun is about to get ready to come in the ring to try to break up the pin, and out of nowhere, she kicks out of it, and the people start cheering and whatnot and everything. And then here's the kind of like, to me, they didn't do the drama of that. Oh, I have to reach my tag team partner correctly, because just the angles and stuff and how they did, like she couldn't reach, and how they broke up the panels, like here, to me, that's a wasted panel. Not this one right here. That's a wasted panel to me. That does not show everything, because to me, all of that should be one panel, and you could have had kind of like another panel here showing kind of like another effort before that punch happens, something of the effect of, something more emotional before you go into like, oh, now she got clobbered again, and now she's almost knocked out, and everybody was up here like, what's going on, this, that, and the other. And then out of nowhere, she's, because of her the conviction to save her mom, she stands up. It's like, you know who I am? I'm such and such. My mom is such and such. And then she just kind of just snaps off. And in her snapping off, she pretty much, started dodging the bigger dude's attacks, pretty much got him to the mat and almost knocked out, where she was able to tag in Crimson Sun, who pretty much finished off everything and whatnot. And then she sneakily tags back in for she could get the pin, through a leg drop, and they ended up winning the match to move on to the next round. Everything seems kind of happy-go-lucky, hunky-dory. Everything is going as well as planned until we get to the next second round match on the other side of the bracket. So now, as they were walking off, they happened to see one of the other teams walk in and whatnot. And then as they walked in and finished their introduction, they see the other teams, the Pure Pack, come in, and that's when they recognize that one of the members of Pure Pack is, lo and behold, good old Uncle. Uncle Blood is part of this tournament. And Uncle Blood is like, just like you two, I'm in it to bring back my sister. So pretty much, he's up here. It's like, hey, I'm here trying to do what I can to win and this, that, and the other. And before they really got the match started, they was blindsided, attacked. They started to ring the bell and everything. His partner was pretty much taken out of commission. And then that just left Uncle Blood by himself. And he pretty much took a whooping. He took so much of a whooping where pretty much dude rendered him pretty much out of commission, where his neck was broken. And pretty much, chaos ensued and everything to get everybody separated before he could get medical attention and whatnot. So behind the scenes, and this comes back to the main point of the organizer, how he felt that pro wrestling was real. So he's trying to explain. He tried to explain. It's like, wake up, wake up. It's like his neck is broken. This, that, and the other. Even if he could, this, that, and the other. It's like, he's up there. It's like, who is to know that your wrestling was fake? Everywhere else, it was real. And that's when Crimson Sun was like, you know what? Don't even bother talking to him. He thinks that our wrestling is fake. Guess what? We got to show him how fake it is.
Yeah.
So pretty much he is raring to go for that next. I think the next match would be the championship match between that tag team that broke the uncle's neck and them. And he's kind of like ready to go. Or if I have to go, well, actually, do I have it in front of me? I don't think I have it close by. Either it's coming up to the semifinal match or the final match in issue number 5. I know it went either 6 or 7 issues. No, actually, it went 7 because I got issue 7 back over there somewhere. It just came in the mail today. So it went 7 issues. So it probably is the semifinal match and everything to that magnitude. So we're about to get ready to see what Crimson Sun is going to do to avenge what happened to Uncle Blood. And it's going to be epic. Now, overall, like I said, there's a few things storytelling-wise, panel-wise, that I really didn't care for, but that's more storytelling choices. That goes more into the editing aspect of it, which it wasn't bad. It wasn't something that took away from the story. It was just, I would have just, my writing style would have been more along the lines of writing something a little bit more intense for certain scenes and whatnot. I didn't care too much for the fast forwarding after the 2 stories about the 2 teams were being told. I would have rather have proper introductions and have them to come into the match actually introduced instead of being partly way into that match. But outside of that, it was a solid issue. And it continued on with the story and the growth between Lona and Crimson Sun, who, again, he's trying to do as best he can to protect his daughter and to get, to have his wife revived. So with that in mind, I do have to knock it down a bit because normally most of these issues have been somewhere around like 8s. With this issue, I have to give it more like a 7. This time around, only because of those handful of things. It's not that it's the story caliber is not there. It's just little bitty things that nags at me looking at other issues that makes me knock this one down a little bit more. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Joe. Yep. Thank you.
Well done.
Yes. And we've got some more comments. It's okay, Teresa, and says, "You're good, Teresa." Everyone's saying hello. And busy trying to get a resume together for job hunting. And she chimes in with the shadow knows. And agreed with that wasted panel. Lazy. And desk. That means you, Joe, I believe. If you had to do an elevator pitch on the comic you're reviewing, what would it be? That's a good question.
With this one?
Yeah. That's a good question.
It's the fight for somebody else's life. Everybody has a life that they're fighting for. Do you have the conviction to win everything for the person that you care about the most? There you go.
There you go. Good tagline. Good tagline. All right. And next, she'll probably be asking you to lick that. Anyway,
I haven't graduated from that college as of yet. You haven't sent me my diploma.
Well, the professor will. That was for you, Sarah. Anyway,
Hey, Eric, did you see that?
Nope.
Did you see it? Do you want me to describe what he did?
Nope. I can only imagine. That's why I kept my head down.
I can get a screen cap.
we can make a gif of that. Just repeats. Constantly, especially that last move.
I'm sure I'll catch it in the rerun.
That panel break thing. It's like, you're not Michelangelo, and that's not the Sistine Chapel. It's just not.
Right.
It's just,
I mean, it should have been one panel for them not being able to tag, and then I would have did more of a close up as he, was pulling her hair back, where you could see the despair in her face. It's like, oh no, I was like, how much more I could take, or something like that. That would have added more to the story. But again,
that was a very weird choice.
Yeah. Well, it's like a very artsy sort of look how dramatic we are. It's a very pretentious.
Telling it like it's dramatic.
There you go. It's a tell and don't show moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, if you got drama and being artsy, always, or storytelling really and being artsy, go with storytelling every time.
Yeah.
Because look at the early like Todd McFarlane. When he started out at DC and he was doing like Infinity Incorporated. Granted, I love those beautiful panels, those nicely designed panels. But then when he got back to Marvel, they told him, cut that the hell out. Just concentrate on telling the story. And that's what you see after that in like G.I. Joe, and especially in Spider-Man and the Hulk with McFarlane. And I think, he took the advice, and I think it worked to his advantage. But yeah, it's like, forget artsy. The only person I think that really did artsy well is probably Jim Steranko, and he can still tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his Nick Fury. That was it.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was it, man.
Yeah, Comics at Night on the Indie Comics Network. Randy Zimmerman and all. We looked at the black and white editions of those Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that stuff still holds up. Yeah. Beautiful storytelling, beautiful layout, beautiful design. But
did you talk about the infamous gun in the holster panel?
Haven't gone to that yet. Yeah. That's right. Or the phone that is on the hook now.
What? Like, the story behind that, right?
The comics code, right?
Yeah. He said multiple times, he's like, that's worse than anything I originally had.
Yeah. No kidding. Make John Romita Sr. repaint or redraw all those panels. That's like, oh man, that's nuts. But anyway, we now have this. Oh, wait a second. Hold on here. Sarah goes, nice. Make that.
I think she likes the licking. I think she likes the licking and maybe not the pitch.
I'm not here to judge. Well, yes, I am. What am I saying? Anyway,
what if you lick during the pitch?
There we go. And no, I'm stopping. Anyway, Donna Gurley, it says early warning, the Witzman dude will be here momentarily. Woo! Thank you, Donna. We appreciate that.
The high school reunion.
Yeah, this is where they drove him out, like the rats from Ireland. But anyway, or the snakes from Ireland. But anyway, someone who's not a snake, but he could be Irish because he's wearing a green cap. There is Mr. Clyde Hall, our gold standard and nominee for the Pope Fiction Awards. I got to get that and post that before we're done here. So I tell you what, you want him, you got him, Clyde Hall.
Hey. So we weren't here last week, and Eric, did you get to read this? The final issue of Sergeant Rock?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't tell you about it then.
Well, you can tell me a little bit. Is it worth me reading it or not?
It's pretty much what I expected.
That's damning with faint praise.
Well, it doesn't it's a solid wartime Sergeant Rock story, and it
Okay.
ends like that. So
Okay.
I don't see a lot of twists and turns, but I didn't really expect them either. If you're a Sergeant Rock fan, it's can't miss um, product for you. Um, it's well done. It's quality done. Um, it's satisfying to me. I think you probably would like it. But if you're expecting a big twist or some kind of a, oh my gosh, I never saw that coming. Yeah, you're probably not going to get that.
No, most of the issues were good. I like most of the issues. I mean, there was like it seemed like filler issues in the middle, but
Yeah. It's solid. It sort of had some Swiss cheese holes in places of where they could have done a bit more with it, maybe, but
or less.
or less. But it didn't like redefine the wartime story with a supernatural twist. There was no. I would have paid some hard cash to have the Creature Commandos make a cameo, but that's just me. So. This came to an end. The Human Target by Tom King, and if you like nostalgic action noir, comic noir kind of things, neo noir, this will fill the bill. It was a very, very good ending, I thought, to that whole series. And the second issue of Where Monsters Lie came out. I did a review on this, and that's got a lot of twists and turns. It didn't go anywhere like I expected it to, in a good way. So I'm still aboard with this. But this week we had there were several that I was looking at to do reviews on, and this one I like part of it, but after seeing some of Joe's work with a wrestling theme in books and do a power bomb, this one I did not. It just has some problems. But Ahoy Comics put out The Gimmick, and it is about wrestling. Very interesting pitch about a guy who suddenly finds out, well, he's known, but he's hidden it, but he has superpowers.
Nice.
And he's been using, he's been a wrestler, but nobody knew he had them. He didn't use them until he gets really mad in a match. And then he uses them. And the problem with it, though, is that it's all about the kayfabe behind the scenes. As far as stuff in the ring, it's really that part's really brief. We get kind of a view of, we have some funny moments like apparently he has an ex-wife and a kid, and the kid is like, she's watching the TV show and she's like, well, that explains some stuff. As the kid like lifts a couch, it's a little baby. So there are some funny moments. Patton Oswalt thought it was hilarious, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess somebody making a guy's head into a meat bagel on television is in a very dark kind of way. It's funny, but it had some promise in it that, at least in the first issue, it didn't really set up. It didn't hook me like it should with as many things as it had going for it. But I would be very interested if Joe picks this up to see what he thinks of it. So it's still made my top 5 list.
To do so, and just to help you out here, since you mentioned it, I will show instead of tell after you're done.
Okay.
About the other book that you mentioned.
Okay. And we got Clear. Now this is a Comixology original, now put out by Dark Horse. That was a very interesting sci-fi, kind of a dystopian future, if you want to look at it that way. But a World War III that lasts for 3 days, followed by everybody putting veils up so that they don't have to see the world as it really is. They go into like a VR mode, and it's kind of along the lines of Ready Player One and stuff like that. Is who would want to look at the real world when we can make up whatever kind of reality we want?
I relate to that.
Yeah. That's a really solid first issue too, because it ends and you're going, oh, okay, where do we go for issue 2? This is kind of one of those cliffhanger sort of things, but it's there's been so much dystopia stuff. I hate to recommend a lot of dystopian stuff, but this was really well done. It's very clever, it's very insightful, and it does speak to a lot of the real world problems in a sci-fi kind of way. Oh yeah, I agree with Brian Morris. I picked this up this week, and yeah, one of the best books I've read this week. This is good stuff.
It is.
And I haven't read a lot of the background books. Some of the things that it's based on didn't matter. I could follow it with no problem. I may go look up some of the other things that it makes reference to, but I didn't have to. I got the story and got where it was going without ever knowing every iota of the other stories that tie into it. So that's always a good sign. I did a review over at the Comics Beat this week for Emma Kubert's Stoneheart #1. And this came up this high on my list because it isn't very often that you get something where a young comic book professional does all the parts. She wrote it, she lettered it, she did all the artwork for it. And you also don't get a lot of things like that when a young creator does good work like that. You don't always get where they will put themselves out there and show their vulnerability, because the main character is very much like the creator. And, it's gutsy storytelling. When you take what is inside you and you put it on display, even if it is a high fantasy setting, and your character looks like you, and your character acts and talks like you, and you put yourself out there for, it's the story of a girl who finds that her powers are dangerous. And so the clan that she's a part of, they hide her, they mind wipe her, and they throw her into a normal setting where she can't hurt anybody. She can't remember that she has powers and stuff. And so she goes from being this kind of grim character to being a very flightsy and, very bubbly. And she's in the middle of a city where they're going to eat her alive. She's a repository of positive energy. And it is basically a veiled story of a young creative person that wants to get into a field and has everybody tell her, you can't do that. No, that's not the way that works. So it's a multi-layered thing, and I see the creator, Emma Kubert, a lot in this. So a very high recommendation for a first issue. There are some rough spots here and there, but she did it all. We were talking about that. Not everybody can write and draw their own comics. And I thought she did a very, very brave telling of her own story through this character, this fictional character in a high fantasy setting. So Stoneheart #1 from Image, definitely worth a look. But I picked up an issue from Mad Cave Studios called, and I had read some prior info on this, Hunt, Kill, Repeat. And as you can see, we have a protagonist who is proficient apparently with a lightsaber bow, I guess, and who is very pregnant, which is germane to the story. There are a couple of different covers for it, but I really like this one. And again, it's not a perfect book, but it has some very interesting elements in it that I found rewarding. So to give you an idea here, Hunt, Kill, Repeat #1 is part of a new ongoing series at Mad Cave Studios. It's $4.99 on the cover price. Excuse me. It's written by Mark London. The art is by Francesco Archidiacono. Inks by Mark Deering. Colors by Lee Loffridge. And letters by Russ Wooten. And maturity level, it is T for teens. So I'll give you a look at some of the artwork here. Okay. This will make more sense when I describe the story, but basically, think of a New York where the ancient gods rule again.
Ugh.
Yeah. And think of those ancient gods parading around, in the styles and everything that mortals have made popular.
Is that Magnum PI?
Yeah, it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? That's actually Apollo.
Oh.
Yeah. Think of a time when the gods, being Greek gods in this case, were jealous gods, and they didn't like people disobeying them a lot. Think of a goddess having had just about enough of this. Yeah. And what it looks like when she shows her displeasure to forces allied against her. Okay. So the teasers for this really hooked me hard. Even though they sounded weird, I thought, how are they going to pull this off? So, first of all, while I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature, and it shouldn't be considered representing any views of those sites. So, Aftershock Comics went bankrupt, and they aren't paying their artists and writers. They owe a lot of money to people, and they are also insisting now that anything that they do put out comes in that less than popular prestige plus format dimension that nobody wants. So, I see them stacked up at Comic Shop right now because nobody wants that size for the most part. So there's an opportunity in the comics market, especially with the smaller and independent companies, for claiming more of the market, because Aftershock's fan base and people that have been following them, like me, have kind of fallen away until they pay their people. Mad Cave Studios has become more visible in the last few months, and I think maybe because they're hoping to pick up some disillusioned Aftershock indie readers. Well, their latest series, Hunt, Kill, Repeat, launched this week, and it proves that Mad Cave may not be ready yet to absorb Aftershock's faithful, but they are in the running. As first issues go, HKR has much to recommend it, and originality is not at the top of the list. The world of this new series is our world. Tech and modern and jaded and just like what we have right now. And then the gods return with a lowercase g, and they are not pleased. To be fair, it's not yet clear where they went, or if, because they're like immortals, they were just looking around away from Earth for a quick inter-pantheon Olympic session, and when they look back, well, those silly little savages had made some great strides in their hardware and technology over the span of a mere couple centuries. It'd be sort of like if you had an ant farm and you like to mess with it and you're keeping it around for several years and entertaining yourself watching its occupants and their insectoid generations with interest. And then you go out of town for a weekend. When you return, the ants have constructed excavating machines and they've created elaborate dirt complexes. And they've even cracked the glass in a few places and sent explorers out to the edge of known space to bring back materials for increasing their population. Naturally, you would quickly take back control of the ant farm, repair that glass, and exterminate those explorers before they establish new colonies in your kitchen. Well, Zeus and his gods do much the same thing. They take back control, they set up mortal avatars for keeping the other mortals in line, and they watch their Terran ant farm a lot more closely. Tech is banned, forbidden, outlawed, and people must return to a more ancient and basic sort of existence. Now, your chariot may have rubber tires, nicely crafted from, Goodyear, but it's still pulled by a horse. And you may stock up at the market, but you're going to be carting all of it home, pushing a wheelbarrow. Not all the gods are supportive of Zeus's crackdowns, but they go along because his power is not to be taken lightly. Some are zealots, and they're trying to get the Allfather's favor by kowtowing to whatever he wants. A few are absent unless called upon specifically, and Artemis, formerly the goddess of the hunt, is one of those. She is taken to living among mortals and trying to better understand them, and especially to figure out how did they get advanced as quickly as they did. When it's discovered, however, that Artemis has gone completely native and is carrying a mortal child, Zeus goes ballistic. Only he can do that, apparently. Father demigods with humans. So sometimes, even within a pantheon of gods, an example has to be made, and Artemis becomes just that. Until she's freed from captivity by an unlikely ally, and it's an ally that has something to do with humanity's rapid advancement. A goddess of the hunt brought down like prey is a good example to dissuade errant gods. But a huntress deity unleashed and with a score to settle with all the other pantheon? Well, that's where the hunting, killing, and the repeating begins. So, the good. The return of the gods and their subjugation of wayward mortals seemed a little iffy in its proposition on the solicits, but writer Mark London makes it a very reasonable and intriguing premise despite that. He also sets up very well the situation of Zeus's various pantheon members. Like humans in any kind of a perpetual political power play, going against the strong man in charge is a good way to vanish, or with Zeus, suffer unending punishment for millennia. Or vanish and then suffer unending punishment for millennia. Francesco Archidiacono's art is serviceable enough. It does relate emotion and characterization well, both in interpersonal scenes and in the action ones. There's even a gentle touch of anime in some of the more light-hearted moments. His portrayal of the gods, now sporting the latest in textile fabrics and fashions that those clever mortals favor, is, I think, beautifully over the Rainbow Bridge excess. I love the way he did that. Even though he made Apollo, look like he belongs on a 80s action show, but I thought it was
played by Tom Selleck.
yeah. And that styling extends also to how Archidiacono reimagines modern cities once the gods have reasserted themselves. You got Greek columns coupled with signage that's reminiscent of They Live in this new vogue. The art team captures it all very well. And if you like the Colosseum matches complete with TV ads in the Pax Romana original Star Trek episode of Bread and Circuses, get ready to enjoy the divinely enforced 21st century Neo-Greco surroundings. The bad. Colorist Lee Loffridge has done some really good work, but this isn't it. And he's placed a pallid, kind of washed out look, a template over this book, and I don't know why. It tamps down what could be more action-packed or dramatic moments for me, and even the nighttime scenes look like weak tea. It looks like weak tea tastes, kind of brown and bland. While London on Scripps has taken an unusual concept and established it nicely in the premiere, as I read on, one thought kept repeating in my mind. They owe Quentin Tarantino licensing fees for a Kill Bill of the Gods treatment. Maybe not a pure ripoff, but at least a heavy-knuckled homage. Like The Magnificent Seven being good, but it still owes a ton of dues to the Seven Samurai. I had the same thought. So, reading the description of the series over at Mad Cave's page, I was pleased to see that they had at least owned up. And this is a quote now from their pitch. It's Kill Bill meets Clash of the Titans in Hunt, Kill, Repeat, the all-new action-packed series by Mark London.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Again, they are an up-and-coming contender for the Aftershock crowd, maybe, but they ain't there yet. And so there's enough negativity to it that it kind of balanced out. They had some really good parts, and then they had some parts that kind of dragged it down. So the takeaway, despite a few drawbacks, Hunt, Kill, Repeat, #1 is very enjoyable. And it brings more than one surprise along the way. Better yet, the major revelations, they come by showing and not just telling us. London never underestimates his audience's ability to keep up when given new insights and all the ramifications. He doesn't spell it out for you. It's obvious, and he treats it that way. For the promise that it puts forth as an ongoing series, one that imagines Bullfinch's Tarantino tales, Hunt, Kill, Repeat, #1 gets my rating of 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's okay.
It's better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Well,
I was like,
Clyde's
going to throw it. Clyde's going to throw it.
Yeah,
no.
This is the week. This is the one.
Like, this is hot garbage.
No, I think the artwork itself is good. I love that reimagining the modern era with a Neo-Greco enforced by the divine pantheon. There's parts of it that work really well, better than I ever expected. So a few of them dragging down and disappointing me It didn't tank it. It just made it. I would have given it much higher if I don't know what Lee Loffridge's thing is about the color. Did you guys are artists. What did you think? Did it strike you as bland or not?
I don't know. I felt like, I mean, I think sometimes like a bland color palette can help the story, but it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like this story fit that at all.
Yeah.
So that would be my only. I mean, I thought it looked okay, but yeah, I mean that it doesn't really seem like. I don't think it would have stood out to me as a negative as much as you felt it did.
Okay.
But when you brought it up, I could totally see it
Yeah.
for sure.
I thought it looked better in my color in the soda.
Oh no. I
I
don't
will
think
fight
so.
you on that one, Eric.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really big. A lot of times I'm partly colorblind, so color doesn't always make a big impression on me. But boy, that one really, page after page, I just was like, this could look.
That Hawaiian shirt looked good.
The what?
The Hawaiian shirt looked good.
Yeah.
I guess. But I mean, we go to dark
everything's
places.
like gray. I don't understand.
We go to dark places. It's gray. We go to light places. It's gray with a few little bright colors stuck in. It's just I don't know. But the story is still, it's not as polished as something that Aftershock was. The good stuff that Aftershock, some of it was that they were putting out, but it definitely is a weird. I mean, if you want a possible future that you didn't expect to see coming,
Yeah.
That's it.
That, Clyde. I don't want it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Clyde.
You're welcome.
And you mentioned Emma Kubert, and it got me to thinking about of course
Granddaughter
that
of
last
Joe.
name. Yeah, granddaughter of Joe,
And
daughter of Andy
Andy.
Kubert.
Yep.
And her uncle,
Now-
of course, is
Adam,
Adam. Thank you. Yes.
who is the better of the two Kubert brothers?
I do like his art better.
I just said
really
Kubert
do.
brothers. Kubert.
Yes.
In my review over at the Beat, I did not put anything about who she was because I figured everybody else was throwing out her name of she's part of comic book royalty, and after reading her book a couple of times, I'm like, she's probably tired of hearing that. She would kind of like somebody to just look at it based on her work,
Yeah.
and how she did it. So I mean,
You don't know her. Maybe she's like an arrogant jerk.
She is the Nick Cage of comic books.
I don't know. I just got the impression. I did follow her on Twitter, and I was looking up some of her posts and things, and I just got the feeling of somebody that is extremely creative, is trying to take all that energy and channel it well, has a lot of people trying to tell her what to do, that she sometimes goes, depending on how it's presented, and this parallels the character in the story, some people are kind and they present it well, and they really help, and others are just like, no, you can't do that. That's never been done that way before. What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are?
Joe Kubert's granddaughter. Screw you.
I never saw her go there. I never saw her promote herself that way.
Right.
So,
I will now promote myself that way. I am Joe Kubert's granddaughter.
I say it's a good look for you, Brian. You do
Thank
this
you.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Try and correct me.
And that other book was called The Gimmick.
The Gimmick.
Okay. Because it's like he read The Gimmick, but the other book that he was talking about is this series right here, which is Primetime Saturday Night, which I have the first 4 issues, starting from issue 0 all the way through issue number 3, which is going to be ready and on hand at C2E2 here. And what Clyde is mentioning is that he actually, and everybody here has seen some of the prep work that I've been doing for issue number 4 of this series.
And for ringside action, based on the first issue alone, just that issue, the ringside action of yours leaves that. I mean, it's light years ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It was just all behind the scenes stuff about the family which is interesting enough, and you got to have some of that. But having read yours recently, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not feeling it right here.
Well, that was the same complaint that I had with the original AWF series. Because it was not enough of the ringside action. So as an amends to those who read AWF for the wrestling itself, this was born. The series was born, and it took off from there.
Okay, cool.
We got a visitor.
We
Mr. Stanley.
Hi, Stanley.
Hi, Stanley. I loved you in Fantastic Four.
He is not like being held, so I'm just going
I
to
can
do it a little
tell.
bit more because he's a terrorist in my house. Aren't you? You're my little agent of chaos, aren't you? Yes.
I am
The
just feeling
the
to say
enemy
that
of-
Paul's going to go back and slug
Yeah.
you, Brian.
The enemy of peace, right here. Right here.
There's venom in that cat's eyes. That's all there is to it. And Carl Winston says, hi, hello to you, Carl.
Yep.
And Donna says, well, you can't complain about Carl being on the high school committee. It's technically why we met all those years ago. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, there we go.
And Carl is our Dark Pope. And hey, Witzman, dude. And thanks for trying to help. The zombie theme didn't get me kicked off the committee, but at least my participation has been cut down. You keep coming up with ideas like that, I'm telling you, you're out of there. Seriously. They chose Grease for the theme, so I'll be wearing a leather jacket in July.
Oh,
Well,
You just need
I
to grease
could
your
have thought
beard
of worse,
back.
like
Yeah.
you know,
And a
yeah.
the
t-shirt
time
with
for
a Mexico
Geritol
rolled up.
theme. The time for Geritol theme would have worked.
That would have been, yeah, Serotan. That's nature spelled backwards.
Yeah.
And Sarah says, I'm way out of the loop. I didn't know Zim was part of a nightly live podcast, too.
No,
Holy crap, I'll
it's
catch up.
early in the morning.
Yeah, it's at 5 o'clock Eastern in the morning. I'm one of few people that can make it up at that time because I send Cookie off to work to support me in the style to which I've become accustomed. But we generally have Glenn Fleming and Russ Leach, who are both British.
So it's early in the morning for them.
Yeah.
Well, mid-morning.
It's actually
No,
like
it's almost
mid-afternoon
afternoon.
for them.
Is it mid-afternoon?
Almost
it'd be late
afternoon.
morning.
It's
You're
about
right.
lunchtime for them. It's about lunchtime.
Yeah. So
And they're in
you
the
know,
future, correct?
yes. So
Yes,
the world will end, and they'll give us warning before we die.
Good.
So anyway, the Rising Tide broadcasters also urge you to please vote in the Pulp Factory Awards. Clyde Hall for Best Short Story.
But don't use that link because it doesn't work.
Oh no!
Mine did.
Didn't for anyone else.
I got to work. I guess I'm better. Anyway, please check it out. Pulp Reality number 4 for Best Anthology, and Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics for Best Cover Artist for Major Marjorie and for Pulp Reality number 4. So please, and once you vote, that you only have to vote once, and you are done. Otherwise, go to my page. We will have the link there, and it worked for me, damn it. And we just got a comment dump, yay! And link doesn't work for me. Well, drop my
I'm
name
working right now.
And sorry, Brian, that link goes to Tiny Euro. Mine doesn't. Okay, try this one then. Give it a
I'm
shot.
on there right now.
That one works.
Ah,
Mine just worked. I just tested it. So anyway, Lissy says the cover of Stoneheart is beautiful. And Carl
yeah,
voted,
and that's
thank you,
her.
Carl. Thank you.
That's her work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Carl.
I like it. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Her.
And by the way, Emma is also a graduate of the Kubert School and
Right.
now one of the teachers there.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
and every once in a while I can see the shadow of her grandfather's line work.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
not often. She's got her own style, but you can kind of see it sometimes.
You
What?
see that in a number of the graduates, like Lee Weeks or Tim Truman. You know, it's very visible in their work. You're right. And yeah, says Sarah, talk about a vulnerable feeling when real life is written for the masses to judge. Carl Wisdom says the Google Docs link is where to vote for the Pulp Factory Award. And yes, it is brave. And Brian's link is bad. Carl's link is golden. I don't care. Just go there and vote. All right.
I tried to vote twice. That wouldn't let me, so I'll have to do some manipulating.
Yeah.
Okay,
please do.
my vote has been recorded, so we're good.
There we go. Thank you.
Yay!
guys.
Thank you.
And I think because except YT through the link went to the ellipse and beyond. Okay, or maybe it's just that I just copied the tiny URL.
Yeah.
I don't know where that HTTPS came from. And Sarah says this kind of reminds me of Native Americans starting to wear and look more like the immigrants, including those in the ranks of being elders. Somehow combining the gods with the elders. No idea if I'm anywhere near correct, but that's where My mind went, and it sounds like an epic story. Yes, it does. And speaking of epic, there is Grant Lankard. Good to see you. Check out Beowulf number 5. I think it's currently still funding on Kickstarter. Definitely give that a shot. Okay.
Grant
Everybody's
Lankard,
asking how it's going.
Grant Lankard had a really milestone moment today too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He got somebody to come up at him at a convention dressed as one of the characters that he wrote.
Really cool.
Did you see that? It was a great cosplay.
Cosplaying your character, you know you made it.
Yep.
That is so
congratulations, Grant.
And his campaign is over $2,000 now, so he is less than $1,000 away from getting funded, with like 30-something days to go. Still,
put that link up, Grant.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, please do.
Carl just did.
Hey,
there we go.
Awesome.
There we
Awesome.
go.
And speaking of awesome, and somebody that knows how to cosplay cool people, Paul Bush, sounds like a good comic. I'll have to go get a copy. And Grant Lankard says, Beowulf is doing well. We're 2/3 of the way to goal. And congrats, Grant. Proud of you. We are all proud of you, brother.
Indeed.
And I don't know if you're on Facebook anymore, Sarah. Did you hear that my cat passed away and we adopted another one? And Sarah is rarely on Facebook, and she is sorry. We all are. And yay for the new, but RIP to your baby. And it is bittersweet. And Sarah says, yeah, I know your pain, and yet joy at the same time can get somewhat confusing during the transitions. And the new baby, says Donna Carlene, will never take Mooney's place, but she'll help fill the hole he left. That's true. There we go. And everybody's saying hello, 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 and hello, Stanley. And he's so handsome.
He is, and he is a doofus.
Yeah. He'll feel at home here then. I had no idea Uncle Stan became a cat, says Sarah. And Donna Carly says, I'm not going to be a pink lady. I hate pink. I like pink. And you will be the official photographer, Donna. They all still like you, Donna. And Sarah says, okay, great. That Glenn is on a podcast along with Zim and others. And
yes.
And paint a picture with words was pink vomit. Okay, thank you. And for the love of God, I lost my ability to use words again. You're doing fine, Sarah. And there we go. Check that out for the Beowulf campaign. Give that man some money, because it's a good series. I was just rereading it again. And man, I'm going to come here whenever my ego needs stroked.
And other things.
And other things, says Brian. Brian is lining up with the Jergens lotion right now. And Carl says, I am on it tonight. Yes, you are. You are. And I hope you gave consent. And thanks, Carl. Thank you so much from Grant and all of us here. So anyway, we have a subject this week. It was brought to our attention that, and this is more of an op-ed piece. You know, it's not really what I would call a hard factual article, but there's an article on comicsbeat.com, the great employers of our own Clyde Hall. And it's called The Indirect Market, Diamonds Reduced Shipping is Too Little Too Late. And what that refers to is for the first time in, I can't remember how long, the Diamond organization has reduced, it says it's planning to reduce its shipping costs. And it kind of came out in the article that they are jacking up the postage and taking part of their operating costs out of it, which to me is no surprise. Amazon's been doing that for years. You know, it's not really news, I don't think. But a few of us need to go over soon and torment Joe Dog. Well, give him some strokes too. And Sarah says, I'm going to get myself kicked off the show. No, you probably wind up being a co-host at this rate. Anyway, Sarah says, here we go. Stroked and licked. OMG, I have no idea how awkward I just made that about the ego. Well, if you can't do it to somebody else's ego, what kind of friend are you? Anyway, anyway, I need my ego.
Who was that? Clarence Thurgood?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. There we go. Always make sure your Coke can is clean. Anyway, but no, this, and I'm looking at. I read the article, and again, like I said, it's an op-ed piece by
Clarence Carter.
Dealers.
Yeah, Carter. Yes. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
I was sitting there going, stroke it to the left.
Eric's over there like Rain Man. Definitely Clarence Carter. Definitely.
I want to say Clarence Thomas the first. That's not it.
Judge.
That's what I was thinking of. Oh, anyway. But anyway, but no, it's like Diamond is changing its terms. Because during the pandemic, it wound up getting competition for the first time in almost 30 years from two different organizations, now three. They no longer have it's not legally a monopoly, but it is a stranglehold. I like to think of it. Do you guys think that maybe this is this a sign that Diamond thinks it needs to change with the current climate, expense wise, or do you think maybe it's too little too late for them?
I think Diamond's got 5 years, maybe 10, before it becomes a fizzled out piece of crap. I hate Diamond, so I'm rooting against it every step of the way.
I like rubies.
Thank you.
I like diamonds. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Or
think
not diamond. Not
my
diamond.
ego is too big to actually do anything good for anyone.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, but no, and it amazes me in that, people still think that being in the Diamond catalog is the end all be all.
Yeah.
That it's, you're in Diamond and then all of a sudden you're dripping with wealth. And now I have no personal experience with Diamond. I know Joe's been trying to get in. But yeah, it's like, it just boggles my mind that anyone thinks that, they get in there and they're guaranteed, especially when you look at, who was it? Random House Penguin, or when Penguin was trying to buy Random House, and it was revealed that half of the books that were in their catalog sold an average of 12 copies. And you'd think that being picked up by somebody major would be your, key to the Golden Gates, but it's just not the way. And I wonder if this information is more useful to maybe try to, put a little bit of reality into people's heads here about what the market is.
I used to think that when I first started, I used to think that, to be in Diamond is this big deal. And then I met artists that were like my peers that were doing the same amount of hustle with the same amount of, reward and with almost the same amount of readership, that were in Diamond, paying the Diamond costs for distribution and all that stuff, and or they were hooking up with small press, through because they had Diamond distribution, and then it turns out that those publishers weren't even paying them the royalties. So it's like, what's the point? All it is just like, I feel like anymore, all it is just like a trophy. It's like, ooh, I'm in Diamond previews like that. I mean, and don't get me wrong, if that's what you want, that can be a really cool thing. Like if Memoirs of an Angel ended up in Diamond previews, that's pretty cool because I grew up with that. Like that's a cool step. Right. But like, I don't know, I think I have found just as many readers and success through Kickstarter and going to shows than people than people who are in Diamond.
Yeah, that's true. Joe, you have your hand up.
Yeah, because again, if I went into my experience and what I have learned and what other people who have been through Diamond been through, because again, Diamond still courts me every so often, because again, we showed them that we're still putting out books. We built up a catalog that they could build upon.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, the understanding of getting into Diamond does not mean the end of working to put your book out there. And that's where a lot of the flaws come into play. You get your book into Diamond, you get that first, let's say your first purchase order for 2,000 or 3,000 books, or five, let's say 5,000, just to round it out here. All that stuff comes out of your pocket. It's not immediate reimbursement. You send them 5,000 books, you might have to sit and eat that cost of 5,000 books for at least 6 months to a year before you recoup. Because again, it's like you have to go through initial offer, re-offers, and all this other stuff, and they're tracking the numbers of how much your book sells. They're not promoting you. You're still promoting your books.
Oh, yeah.
You're the one that's going out to comic book stores to say, hey, I'm in Diamond now, pick up my book. Hoping to gain more readership.
Yeah.
And the bad thing about it, it could take one book and you're right out the door.
Yeah.
If it doesn't meet a quota.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's a lot of business aspect that goes into it. It's like getting in it is not the end all be all. It's just a change of the game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I believe a lot of younger creators, and I'm using younger as in not as experienced as opposed to age. Those who are not experienced with the business end of it, once you get into Diamond, guess what? The game changed. Now you have to change your promotion aspect to incorporate pitching to comic book stores, pitching to other outlets, pitching to big box stores, pitching to anybody that can scan that barcode that's on these books and whatnot, and going forward.
Yeah. Good points.
And now on Comics Beat, they had an article before that, because you're right, that's an op-ed piece. They had an article before that outlined all the whys and wherefores of the statement from Diamond Distributing, what they were going to do and all. My main thing, and they kind of touch on it in the op-ed, I think, is okay. Let's say that Brian's right and Diamond goes out of business.
Yes.
Do we have some? We have some smaller companies that are now going to have to ally themselves with one of the other distributors? And what kind of deals are they going to get as smaller, companies like some of the ones that we enjoy that aren't Image and they're not DC and they're not Marvel? How's that going to affect them, you think?
Yeah.
It will affect them a lot, because I don't see Penguin going after them. I don't see, Luna going after us. And it's the same problem. This is the same Diamond problem that I see before. And this is some of the stuff that Randy Zimmer was talking about. When it comes to the smaller press, and I don't like using the word indie per se, because we're all publishers nonetheless here.
Right.
When it comes to us smaller companies, these distributors don't want to come after us until we prove that we don't need them.
Right.
Yeah,
that's the weird thing about it. It's like, if we have distribution that is, 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, that's when they say, hey, we'll make your job easier. Let us do all the paperwork for you and this, that, and the other, and you take less money.
Hey, seeing that you're never going to file a claim, we would like to insure you now.
Right.
Yeah. And now that you've proved you can work harder, we're going to make sure you make less money at it.
Yeah.
Right? I got it. I know who's going to show up and save the day. Liberty Distribution.
Too soon.
Oh my God.
That was fun for me.
You see the people clenching on here.
That was,
Yeah. Well,
hey, they got your books, Brian.
I know.
And got him.
Yeah.
It happens. It does, and it did. But anyway, it's like one time, Joe's thing reminded me years ago when I used to do transcripts. I had someone who was a comic book professional approach me saying, I've got this series of books I want to do. I need you, I want you to do interview transcriptions for me. I said, fine. And he goes, well, I need you to turn them around in about half the time you normally do. They're going to be twice as long. And because I'm giving you so many, I'm going to have to cut your rate. And I pointed out to him, would you work under these conditions?
Right.
And he's like, ooh, good point. Sorry, Brian. So I don't think he ever got them done. So, but Yeah, and I think part of this, maybe them dropping their rates might be an indication of that Lunar and the other company, and you know Penguin Random House, whatever it is this moment. Um, Maybe they're definitely having an effect on them because they've taken away their exclusive businesses. The big two, I think, are distributed by Penguin anyway.
Mm-mm.
No, they let Diamond. They let the other people distribute them, but their main distributor is now Penguin.
Marvel is 100% Penguin. I forgot who
Okay.
DC is. DC is up
DC.
under somebody else.
DC may be Lunar then.
Huh.
But anyway,
Was
it's just
DC doing Luna?
yeah. Of course, they're also doing other. I may have misspoke, but I know they're Lunar is doing other companies as well.
Mm-hmm. I forgot where Image. I think Image went with now with Penguin. Now I
Yeah.
think Image is now up under Penguin, and like I said, they're looking at getting like some of the other bigger companies like Boom
Mhm.
and other things up under like Lunar or Penguin as of right now. So it's pretty much Diamond is like losing
Mhm.
the bigger companies in the bigger scheme, but it still, to me, it still comes back down to, for anybody that really wants to make money in distributing, you got to come after us little guys before we blow up big.
Yeah.
DC, as of September of last year, universal distribution. Does that
Mhm.
sound right? Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Clyde.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's interesting, and I'm with Brian. I want to see. I've been wanting to see Diamond to brought down a few pegs.
Yeah.
Because even in the days when when there were other distributors in the late 80s and 90s, Diamond got, all companies have this problem, but Diamond seemed to have the most problem with orders being wrong or in poor condition.
Eric
And
quit.
Eric gave up on us. Well, I think he probably had to go to his drawing show, maybe.
That's only
It's
9
only-
o'clock.
Well, 9 o'clock.
Oh, maybe it's past his bedtime. He's not as young as he used to be. Anyway, like I should talk. Anyway, but maybe I think this is a sign that the other companies are making inroads just the same way, like back in the 90s when Diamond came in and took care of places like Capital City
Yeah.
and Friendly Franks and other distributors of that type. That they just started falling one by one, and now the reverse is true. I think.
I like in the
I'm glad to
op-ed
see it.
piece where he says, they're really quick to talk about, we've been in business for 40 years. What a great achievement, which
Mhm.
it is, except in that time, especially during the time when they didn't have much competition or anything, they are now, he looks at it like this new tact that they're taking is to stay in business, which he says, for somebody with a 40-year rep that they keep throwing down our throats, this isn't speaking very well for how well you do your business if you're
Mhm.
going to have to resort to this to keep the doors open.
Yeah,
Right.
So, but
that's a good point.
And I think it's going to take a little bit more than shipping costs to keep the doors open. They're going to have to reach out to creators and figure out a certain way to work with them without gouging them.
Mhm.
To be quite honest.
I guess if there's nothing else, we're just going to have to see if there's actually something we can provide the creators
And
for
honestly,
the money that they're giving us.
that's not going to happen. And I think
It's never going to happen.
if it
No.
does happen, it'll be way too little, too late. People won't trust them. People won't, want to even give them a chance.
Mhm.
And I think a big part of it is people are finding other means because they've been a
Crowdfunding.
problem for so long. People have just been like, well, we're gonna just do something else. And I think their time is slowly. I think it's almost up.
Their window is closing.
Yes,
People have
and I think
blazed
they see
trails.
it.
They blaze trails around them, and now they've become super highways. So
Absolutely.
online, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's people. I mean, you got the pro. Like the big mainstream pros are now doing crowdfunding
Mhm.
and distributing through other means.
Yeah.
And so you've got people are catching on, and I think I mean, I don't know what the future of Marvel and DC looks like, but I mean, I feel like something's probably going to have to change with those two eventually. I feel like you can only do the same thing they've been doing for so long, but I mean, hey, people have said that 30 years ago, and here we are. But I mean, I feel like just comics in general and distribution in general is really about to make a big change here soon. I think we're seeing it, and I think it's really the big crux of it all is about to hit in a few years. I think we're seeing just the beginning, and when the fit hits the shan, as it were, then Diamond will find themselves obsolete and useless.
Eric says he's got to restart his computer because his signal suddenly became non-existent, which means good, but I mean, I think he meant non-existent.
Right.
Yeah, mine. I was having trouble with mine for a minute or two, also.
Okay.
So, but I think also one thing, and not just the shipping rates that have already made a difference, is the fact that these newcomers are taking care with the packages.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the first time ever I have heard the term bubble wrap used in terms of distributing comics.
Which, I mean, my day job is in a warehouse. You don't ship things without, we don't use bubble wrap. We do.
Totally shrink wrapped in some form or some fashion.
You use packing material that keeps things safe. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, present company included, I have heard store owners talk about the nightmare that shows up when there's shipments from Diamond.
Oh, yeah.
If it shows up.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
it's just, you can't do business that way after people are starting to do something new to fix it. People they're not going to go back. Trust is everything. If you they've broken the trust, and now people are learning how to do it differently, and the trust is gone. They're not going to earn it back by lowering shipping costs.
Is it really trust, or is it something else that I researched this once before, and I still stick by it? And that is, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. DC Direct Marketing Program made Diamond. Once they left, there's nothing good for them.
Yeah,
they have nothing to do, because again, the thing that made them have that stranglehold is now left them. The second part of that puzzle left them too. So you have Marvel and DC gone.
Yeah.
Eventually, everybody else who is a major player is going to leave.
Yep.
Why? Because again, the major players found better means to direct market their wares somewhere else. It has nothing to do. It has really nothing to do with true trust. It's more along the lines of
probably both. I mean,
business,
you're absolutely right, but I think the reason that they were looking was because of all the complaints and because of the how difficult Diamond was or is.
Well, I blame retailers for that, because retailers could have figured out a way to talk to us directly to bypass a Diamond. They could talk to Marvel directly to figure out a way to, it's like, you know what, we're having problems with Diamond. This is what they're doing to our books. Is
Brian,
there another company?
you used to run a shop. How practical is that option?
What, contacting the publishers directly?
Like what Joe just said, like that suggestion.
Would
that help?
No, not really, because one point I was going to bring up is the customer service aspect, which not more than just, better packing. But Diamond's attitude, even back in the 80s and 90s, was, we're Diamond.
Deal with it.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And that's, I learned, like when we had more than one distributor at the shop I worked at one point, Capital City was about as close and, to us as them. And Capital City wanted our, business pretty badly. And so what I could do is play them off of Diamond and because I call in, like, let's say for a reorder, or they miss me on something, and I basically get told like it or lump it. I would then add, well, okay, fine, I'll just call Capital City and see what they have. And then the next week, or the guy will say, well, I don't feel like going into the warehouse and looking for it. Your job is to get your ass into the warehouse and find my product, especially if I've ordered it and I've got a customer for it. Or if I want to reorder, this comic, which at the time would have been 35-50 cents, but I still want you to get out from behind your desk and pick it up and put it in my box for next week. I just call Capital City with about a dozen comics I want, and by Wednesday, I've got it in my hands, and I've got some happy customers. And then Diamond, for about a month, he will be glad to go out, because they were worried at the time that we would sign over with Capital City or some other distributor, or Friendly Franks, which was even closer to them than they were. But then they became the only game in town after the mid 90s, and then all of a sudden it's like, I hear our nightmare stories,
and that's the beginning of the so-called non-monopoly, which most people didn't see.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of the research that I did was with retailers that were around between 1975 and 1990.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying, it's like, as long as there was competition, there was always somewhere else to go.
Welcome back,
customers. Yeah, hey, he's back. There's always somewhere else to go to get the books that you needed.
Yeah, exactly.
Once Diamond became pretty much the stranglehold to anything that was direct market, and I still feel this way, retailers had to follow suit, because again, they were so afraid of losing out on that Marvel book, that DC book that their customers wanted.
Right.
They just followed suit because of that fear. And that's where I still feel that, a lot of these retailers, I still feel that part of that blame still falls on them, because when that opportunity was there to have that vocal point, that to say it vocally to the publishers, especially when DC pulled that whole thing, because I'm not certain if you're aware of Chuck from Mile High Comics, the owner of Mile High Comics.
I met him, yeah. Huh?
He wrote like a 5-piece article dealing with how the direct market hurt the comic book industry.
Yeah.
And part of it was one of the reasons why they almost went bankrupt.
Yeah.
But his take on it spoke volumes about how the discount that they had with this one publisher went away, how DC started treating them as a whole when they were going directly to them, and then how Diamond came in to be kind of like the intermediator, where pretty much they were like the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Not getting in and out without talking to us.
Yeah.
Or marching around 7 times and
exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it just speaks to their business practices over the years. I mean, they weren't even taking care of their customers very well when they had competition, and then after the 90s, and the competition went away pretty much.
They didn't have to.
They didn't have to. There was no incentive for them to, and that's why I see this as like they got their wake up call. That
I think it's way too late.
It might be.
I hope.
To me, this whole Diamond stuff is just like Wizard Comics. Well, not Wizard Comics, Wizard Magazine.
Yeah.
Because again, Wizard came out the box being something that could have been good. Yep. Could have been good and just for the comic book industry, and the insiders picked their favorites, and pretty much it went to hell in a handbasket, all because of a grading system.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't even a grading system of the comics themselves so much as the creators. that they had the hottest artists and the 10 hottest writers and such. And yeah, that was, I if you want to talk about, I think it was a confluence of things, just the and I don't want to say collector mentality. I want to say the investor mentality. And Diamond, and then also Heroes World, who were just Marvel's distributors after a while, and it only lasted 2 years, and then Marvel having bankruptcy issues. It's just a whole lot of things that got together, and I don't know that we'll ever see those prime times again. I think the closest we came with, when I'll go on record as saying it, the New 52. That was the last time we had several comics in a month selling over 1 million copies, and not just DC either.
I think it'll happen again, but I don't think it'll happen in stores like that. I think it's going to happen in crowdfunding circles. I think we're already seeing some of that, but I think
it's co-sign with that only for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah,
I've seen a paradigm shift coming as far as the medium. On what medium our comics are going to move to, and when I say comics, I'm talking about both American and manga.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I would have said
AI digital.
There we go. Well, I would have said that digital would have been, probably the conquering form by now. But
I'm surprised it hasn't caught on more than it has.
I think one thing is, because coming from books, digital, they go up, they go down, but all the time they still go up. It's kind of like, if I do it's like it's a hill. It's like they're climbing.
Even though it ticks down, it's still an upward overall.
Yeah, and this is where the companies, I think, are kind of failing, because you've got dealers who make a stink about, well, you got to be kissing our butts, but there's probably less than a quarter of the number of shops that there were 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But they are demanding to be the tail that wags the dog. And I think if they had figured out a way for them to make a profit on digital comics, even being the go-between for that, I think digital would have done better. But I agree, there's probably a new technology that hasn't come around yet, maybe, or somebody that knows how to market it better, that it might make a difference, And I will ask, we've got 3 creators here. Approximately what percentage of your orders were digital that do quick crowdfunding rather?
Well, 100%, because I offer digital.
Well, okay, you know what I mean.
Zombie World of Oz is usually maybe 15% digital.
Okay,
yeah,
digital backers only. But Zombie Adventure was almost 50%.
Oh wow!
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, mine was about 20%. Yeah. I mean, majority were physical.
Sure.
But yeah, and I think, and as a consumer, I would even say there's something to having a book in your hand that digital just can't replace.
Well, comic collectors can't collect digital.
Right.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's part of the answer.
Yeah.
That's part of the answer. Again,
your digital copy is not going to go up in value. You can't send it off to get it slabbed.
Or
maybe you get an NFT comic. There we go.
What's the difference between these two digitally? There is none.
Yeah.
Only thing that would be different is like the image here will be on one, and the image here will be on another. And technically, because I'm advertising it, and there's not a secure format, I could go and make my own version of this once I stole the proper image off of advertisement to make my own version of this with this cover on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just formatting. It's just formatting and just
and
no
if you like me and
whatsoever.
You enjoy the bookshelf, that's a big reason why. Like, really anymore, if I spend any money or ask for Christmas presents or something, it's on collector's editions. I
Mhm.
mean, I got the entire library, cloth bound library editions of the Hellboy books. I completed that collection. It's over on my bookshelf now. It looks amazing. I stare at it every day and I'm happy. But like a lot of people like that, and you don't have that with digital. And I mean, I did get a Kindle this year or this past Christmas, and I'm reading more digital stuff because I have Hoopla and things like that because I'm poor now. And so it's like digital is much more convenient.
Yeah.
But as far as like pure enjoyment of like holding a book and reading, that is not the same at all.
Peeling those pages apart.
Yeah, man.
Getting those fingerprints all over the covers, smearing
licking
the
those
ink.
spines.
You do have it to the same degree with digital, but the thing about it is like you cannot like Rodman was saying, you cannot display it to show your enjoyment to somebody else easily.
True.
Unless you like have them on your TV as a screensaver.
There you go.
Which is weird.
People are going to ask, why are you being so weird to have the size of books on a television screen? It's like we can't. It's not like we can reach into the screen and pull the book out.
Right. Yet.
Not yet. Not yet. That's what the VR for. And we've got the newcomer Fly Fox Pro saying hola to you. Glad to see you. And yes, this is that new Halo 2 game. I am Cortana. But anyway,
back with the previous, since I had to drop out for like 5 minutes.
Yes.
The son's running that now, right?
No.
Oh, he's a bigger part than he used to be, though.
Yes.
And from interviews I've seen with him, he's a bigger dick than his dad is too.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, that the interview that Clyde had was the father.
Okay.
The guy who should be the public face of the organization.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody called him the buff grandpa. We have to listen to the buff grandpa. His assurances that everything's fine. I don't believe it.
And I think of buff grandpa like
like Brian.
Exactly. I am the buff
what I was
grandpa.
thinking of.
No, I was just thinking about somebody
the
taking a
buff
towel to
grandpa.
Al Lewis talking about the buff grandpa.
That is true.
I'll tell you, for reviewing, I get PDF, copies, preview copies all the time to look at and review, and it's different. Maybe it's just because of my generation. Maybe it's because I'm just used to hard copies. I can do it, but I have to work much harder at it, and I have to read it 2 or 3 times to get the effect. And I have to imagine, if I opened it to this page, would I jump? Because it ain't happening on the computer screen normally.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, I have difficult reading digital.
It's just different.
I'm actually the opposite. As far as like anticipation, I feel like digital does a lot better because I cheat myself a lot of times. Like I'll turn the page and I'll look at that other page but when you do when you're reading panel by panel it's so nice. I really like that. I like that way of reading a comic book. But I prefer holding the book in my hands. So it's I don't know. There's some give and take.
I was about to get ready to say something similar to that because when I do reviews, even on my show, I even tell people, send me physical.
Yeah.
Because it's 10 times harder for me to do it digital. Because if you send it to me digitally, I will forget about it. I would literally forget that I have the file sitting right there. And I probably have read it, but I haven't done any true work on it to review it and dice it up and everything. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, a PDF does not have a guided view like what I'm used to with Comixology and some of these other platforms and everything. That makes the presentation jumps out at you to make it more memorable.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
just having a regular PDF doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I'll tell you, 80% of the crowdfunders I back just digital, I never download them.
Oh my God.
I was just like,
are you
I just do it to help
money?
someone out, but I like to read it kind of. I was like, well.
Yeah, if you're going to get $10 to support them, and get nothing, or $10 and get at least a digital version of it, I will always go for the digital. At least I have something to show for it.
Which maybe in 5 years I'll remember it and read it. You know,
Yeah.
If it's still on your computer, or the link is
right,
still active,
or if
the
it's
link is
still
active.
an active link, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And Lissy says, one perk of digital, I can't forget to return it to the library. That's true.
Amen.
Very true.
There you
Very
go.
true.
See, that's a good point. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Hoopla, you can take out the books for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
And then you have like the day before you can renew it, or it will be returned. Oh, by the way, Brian made a discovery here that on Hoopla, yes, the real posh educational system with Neil Gaiman and Samuel L. Jackson,
Ooh,
Masterclass.
Masterclass, yeah. Mhm.
Some of them are on Hoopla now,
Ooh,
including Neil Gaiman.
nice.
That's great to know because that's like
Yeah.
literally like last year I got it again just to keep his.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
I don't think it's all of them, and each section counts as a download.
Ah,
Oh,
So well, it's the same way with their TV shows.
Yeah.
Like if you get a season of, say, Doc Martin and there's 20 episodes, that's 20 different downloads.
Yeah.
for them.
Okay.
So, but just the same,
but still,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
still free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the
Yeah.
way, the creator does get paid.
Yeah, Hoopla. When we say
Really?
it's free, it's not
Yeah.
cheating anybody.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
The creators and the
Well,
companies, they
it's
get their
through
money.
through the library system
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be surprised though the things that people get in their head about. Oh, so the libraries are getting it, for a
Yeah.
discount, or they getting it? No, they're paying up.
these dumb socialist
Again, I
libraries.
keep telling the library, just send me a purchase order. I'll go if you feel. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, man.
You get your books.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what more people should do. And I think getting back to Diamond, I think that's where, again, a lot of people think that they'll get rich and they will do less work. That they, instead of calling, the 5 shops across the country that would carry their book, Diamond will call the 5 shops.
No, they don't.
You're
They
counting
don't do
on
that.
Diamond to do
Diamond's not even
anything.
gonna call. They're just gonna send the catalog that they ordered.
Right.
Pretty
Right,
much.
and then they're going to blame you. It's like, hey, you didn't promote, therefore we got to
Right.
cut you.
And that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's like a lot of people, like Joe was saying, a lot of people, it's like, they're like, oh, my book's in Diamond, my work is done. It's like, no, your work is just beginning. Like your book might not even be seen, even though it's in previews. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are legit a lot of people that will sit through previews and go through every page, but not everybody does that.
Especially
used
not
to
dealers.
Years
Even
ago, I
retailers
would.
do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Retailers
that's cool.
don't even do
Right.
page by page. They're
Yeah.
up here. They know what they're going to order unless somebody new comes in. It's like, I want this. They're not even going to go to that page
Right.
to look at it. They're not sifting through the catalog. So you have to talk to people.
Yeah, and they
regardless.
treat that green section with the indie comics. They treat that green section like it's the Cursed Earth and Judge Dredd.
But I blame Diamond for that. I blame
Yeah.
Diamond more so for that than the retailers.
Yeah.
I would
Because
agree with you.
Diamond emphasized to them that the green section is not worth their time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing about Capital City. All of the comics were alphabetical by publisher.
See, that's the way to go, man.
I agree. That's the only way you get the thing done.
I gotta
so
tell
you'd
you-
have Aardvark Vanaheim, then you'd have like DC, or you'd have Charlton, then you have DC, then you'd have Image, then Marvel. But everything, you had to go through everybody's listing, literally,
Yeah.
to
And
get
like
to what you really want.
for on like the more the retail level, I mean, the comic shop that I go to, Comic Book World of Louisville, they're awesome and really super friendly with indie creators. And that's like a lot of shops, like they'll have their wall of, new stuff. And then off in the dark corner behind the
Behind
spider
the
web,
beads.
right? Right. They'll
Yeah.
have the indie section.
Right.
Comic Book World doesn't do that. On the new releases, they're all alphabetical from left to right. And indies are mixed in with DC and Marvel and Image and everybody. That's huge because it gets viewed. People actually look at them as opposed to, you shove it in the back corner. Nobody's going to go over there. You might get somebody who's like, ooh, what's over there? Or like the rare person that wants an indie comic book going to a comic book store. But everybody else, it's not in front of them. They don't see it.
We'll find it back there behind the crowd that's all around those Funko Pop displays and the pace setter supplements.
Right.
The worst feeling that you could ever have at a comic book store. You go and ask them for any title. Oh, yeah, you have to go beyond the 50-cent and quarter books to get to those.
Yeah.
And you're up there like, quarter book is more important than certain indie titles.
Yeah.
And then don't let me get started on consignments. Because again, I have done consignments where I would do a comic book signing. Loads of people come in. People are you're showing them that the book will sell. As soon as you leave and everything, you leave, maybe 5 to 20 behind. You go back a couple of days later, books are gone. They have no idea if they were sold or not.
Really?
You don't know if they gave them away.
I've never had an
experience. You might have maybe 1 or 2 on the shelf, and then you're up there. It's like, well, how many sales? Like, oh, we don't know. We don't keep track of your books.
Wow.
See, the shop mine are in right now. They keep track. They have the inventory of them. You go and check. I can call them right now and say, hey, did you sell any more? And they'll tell me, no, we still have this many on hand, whatever.
I thought you were gonna be like, did you sell any more? No. Okay, cool.
Well, I know they've sold at least one. They've had 10 for months now. I haven't gone back up there in a while. It's a different one that I usually go to,
but that's the problem. It's like most and this is the thing that I blame Diamond more so than anything. They made they strained the relationship between publisher and store to the point where we don't get to talk to one another.
Yeah.
Because they're up there saying, we want better product. It's like, well, us smaller guys are making better product, but we need help promoting.
Yeah.
We need help to get that push and get that backing before you can make your money.
Well, it's like I said in books. It used to be decades ago, a publisher would promote. But in comics, it's different because a lot of people think their idea of promotion is just making a poster somebody can stick in the window.
Yeah.
It's not imploring people to buy a book, instructing the shop owners why this book is important, how you can sell it. It's just, and again, it's the same thing we run into with books. In that, too many people think that the publisher's going to do all the legwork on promotion, and that's the exact, that could not be less true. That if the publishers are only going to promote the books that already have an audience, because they're letting people know, hey, that thing you liked, we've got another one of it. Come get it. That's why you don't see like stores. Comic shops promoting, like, say, Dead Box, which is incredibly late and they keep threatening to come out eventually. But they are going to promote something like this.
Yeah.
God bless them. But they know that there is an audience for John Kent out there. And all they're doing is letting the John Kent fans know we've got new stuff. And that's all contemporary comic book promotion consists of. And same with books. We've got the new James Patterson. We've got the new Stephen King. So
James Patterson's Shadow, Brian.
Yeah, I read it.
I'm kind of like reading over what Sarah's saying here.
Yeah. What? Which one?
I was just starting back where it's like I got into manga. Then
time signature? That'll help.
928.
Yeah, 8. Well, again, 928.
928. Got into manga.
Yeah.
And I see they're in the triple digits of books. Rabbit holes everywhere. Well, the thing is, manga are a different animal, really, than even comics, because manga keeps their stuff in print virtually forever. or they find a way to repackage it, which comics are now just starting to get into. With trade paperbacks and archive editions and such.
That plus,
but they make it affordable. Is the thing with manga
and manga. It pretty much it's only released in America. It's only released as large books,
right?
Yeah.
It's like average manga in Japan is, I would say, somewhere on the average of like 80 pages.
Yeah.
Which is like, like our small little typical graphic novel size. When we get it over here in the States, it's usually anywhere between 150 to 200 something pages. So we're getting collected volumes of it. Right. They're getting smaller chunks, but they also treat it as more of kind of like a throwaway because they're either printed as a book by itself, or they're part of anthologies, or they're a part of all of these other combinations where you could get that same story in different I wouldn't say formats, but in different publications.
Yeah. And their culture in Japan, I mean, manga is mainstream, always has been huge. Like here in America, you have to not so much as much anymore, but like 20 years ago, you try to get like a normal person to take a comic book seriously was like pulling teeth. You're abnormal in Japan if you don't read manga.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always
but you still get the people here. Oh, you know about comic books? Oh, yeah. They'll tell you the plot of a Marvel movie. No, you don't.
Yeah.
I used to do flea market sales of back issues, up till about 15 years ago. And I had people come up to me every month. I'd get at least one person every month go, "Oh, they still make comic books."
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've heard people say that to me. And I'm like, what? What rock are you under?
Well, Eric and I, when I did a book years ago, Eric and I actually worked on a book years ago together called Spencer Spook. And we met up at a truck stop in Effingham, Illinois. Remember that?
That just sounds so bad to say. Don't be telling people we met up at a truck stop.
We set up a little stand.
Wide stance was what it was.
We set up a little stand. And we were selling the books to the truckers as they would come through. And
there you go. Eric's got one.
Yeah.
Right. He got it framed. That's the framed Spencer Spook.
Nice.
That's a good one.
I got a stack of framed comic books I've worked on down here. I haven't put up.
Yeah, but anyway, we were signing a number of them for our Kickstarter campaign, and people were like, "They still make those?"
Oh my god!
I know
you don't see them anywhere unless you go into a comic book store.
It's true,
and that's the problem with the direct market. When Marvel and DC is like, no more newsstand. We're just going to sell it directly to the consumers through one distributor. All she wrote.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they talked about putting them in GameStop for a little while, but I never saw them in GameStop.
I mean,
Borders had them, but then they said, "Screw that, let's get rid of these."
Well, that's the thing. The floppies are no longer around.
Yeah,
the graphic novels and collector series you can see at regular bookstores, but still, how many people actually go to a bookstore?
Man,
actually, they've had a resurgence.
I go looking for pops.
They've had a resurgence in the last couple of years that people, because of COVID, were reminded that.
I can read.
Yeah, and they don't care if people see their lips move, but yeah, they've had a resurgence. But again, it's like you can't. Well, even Barnes and Noble used to carry comic books. Not a lot of them, but a few. And last couple times I was in, I didn't see any except for, like, say, the Archie Digests.
That's Books A Million was like that. They would bring in floppies, but they got rid of those about a year and a half, 2 years ago now.
Yeah,
put them with the magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
No, they had a total separate section.
Really?
Yeah, magazines are dying off too.
Well, shoot, have you seen the price of a magazine if you go look at
it? Yeah, magazines are ridiculous.
They want like $10 for a magazine. I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and don't buy Doctor Who magazine from Britain. It has to be shipped across the ocean. It's like, That's a budget breaker right there.
Yeah, the last
that's
time,
why you should get digital.
right?
Yeah,
The last time I bought a magazine was last year. The last kind of just I didn't really have a whole lot on my pull box, and I bought a Fangoria magazine for the first time in a while, and it was like $15, and I'm like, jeez. I mean, I bought it because I really wanted the issue.
I almost picked up some modeling magazines at the bookstore about a year ago.
You're
like,
that guy.
Yeah, I was like, hey. Well, miniature modeling,
Oh, sure.
Tanks,
Yeah.
trains,
modeling.
and it was $14.95. I'm like, nope.
Jeez. Yeah, man.
Because I just want to see the pictures anyway and look at some of the techniques.
Yeah, the techniques. It was a Playboy, wasn't it? You bought Playboy.
Are they still making Playboy?
I don't
Did
know.
that come back?
Was it gone?
Yeah.
But
wow.
I think Playboy's
no idea.
digital only now. I think.
Oh, I know none of these things.
I feel your pain here, Sarah, at the comment from 9:38 p.m. I feel that pain because
it's that's what I didn't say which one. Yeah. That's true. But
and it's so messed up because even when I go to comic book stores now, a lot of people here know how big of a Wonder Woman fan I'm actually am. So I go and ask, like, hey, do you have anything from Volume 1 of Wonder Woman? They kind of look at me straight. It's like, oh, yeah, we got Wonder Woman books. It's like, let me ask you this plainly. Do you have anything for Volume 1? Oh, yeah, if that's George Perez. It's like, no. Volume 1, we're talking about Gold and Silver Age. And they kind of look at you as like, she wasn't around like that. I was like, yes, she was.
Do you have comic book store owners that don't know when Wonder Woman came out?
Oh God, yes.
Wow. I've been spoiled, guys. My comic book owners, they know their stuff.
So, these are the newer shops that are popping up, especially if you do online sales. A lot of these people that do online sales, they have
I don't
no
mess with that.
clue. And they go, and this is why I hate speculation, because that's all that they want to sell is speculation because they see the quick dollar in it, as opposed to what real collectors would buy.
Yeah.
You can only sell so many, Amazing Spider-Man 300s.
Right.
Before people
the only
get tired.
experience I ever had with an online seller like that was he came by my booth a couple years ago at a Comic-Con and scooped up half of my books. I was like, yes, please. So that's been my only experience with online sellers. So
he knows you're the next big thing, Brian.
Okay. I don't care. He gave me a lot of money.
There we go.
But,
that's my man there. That's my man.
Right. I've never bought from them before because I don't. That's weird.
Yeah, I had a guy reach out to me this week asking if I had any more of my Spider-Man 1 variants because he bought one on eBay.
Oh.
Okay.
Then proceeded to send me pictures and pictures of his collection of Spider-Man 1 variants.
Oh nice.
Oh, my God. So, of course, I sold him some books.
Yeah.
Good man.
Of course.
Good man.
That's what you do.
Wow.
That's what capitalism's
everybody
all
having
about.
that $1 million man aspect. Everybody got their price.
Unfortunately, ours is low. But no, I've said for years, for the longest time, if I'm in most comic shops for more than 10 minutes, I'm answering questions for the clientele.
Oh gosh!
Because the person behind the counter, a lot of them are trained by Wizard Magazine.
I mean, you were around when Bob Kane made Batman, so
I was around when we used to put up the hunt on the walls. You know what I'm saying?
Brian was a proofreader on Rawhide Kid.
And we're not talking about Larry Lieber either. Oh God.
So I understand you being able. I mean, you can knock some people down with some comic book trivia. I get that, but still, somebody that not knowing that Wonder Woman came out, Gold and Silver Age, that's bad.
Didn't John Byrne create her?
John Byrne created
Superman. He created Superman.
Superman.
He created
And the X-Men too.
Oh goodness.
And don't forget about the Fantastic Four. He created
Oh, that's
Fantastic
right.
Four
He
too.
did
Oh,
all
yeah.
of those.
Oh yeah.
And the original white collared versions of their outfits. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, see, this is where your people come to learn. This is the learning point.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, everybody. Don't believe
Yeah.
anything you hear.
This is our April 1st edition of Comic Book Spectrum. It's a little ahead of time.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, please don't tell me that Glenn Fleming is up and about, because he would be ready to land to say that John Byrne created Fantastic Four.
He's going to watch the rerun, and I'm going to hear about it. I am so going to hear about it. Yeah, it is. Well, what was it? There was an article out of CBR. I think I've mentioned on the show. This was about 2 months ago, and they were talking about the 10 highest selling comics, and I think the earliest one was like the death of Superman, and and it doesn't count like Captain Marvel during the World War II years, or Superman, or Captain America, which were regularly selling 1 million copies every month.
Didn't
or
that
more.
list also not have X-Men #1 on it?
I'm sorry?
That list didn't have X-Men #1 on it either, did it?
It
Like from the
listed the Jim
90s?
Lee
Yeah.
version,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
okay.
a list I saw didn't have that on there.
That's a bad list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, Paul Levitz, who would know, he made a comment
Wait,
on
these are
Facebook.
books that sell over 1 million, right?
Yes.
So we got X-Men 1. What about Tribe #1? What about
Yeah.
Star Wars
Spider-Man
What
#1?
about
#1?
Superman #1 from the New 52? What about Justice League
Yeah.
of America from the New 52? None of those were on there. And Paul Levitz, former publisher at DC, took that article to task, saying, you guys did not do a lick of research.
And trust me, Brian knows about licks.
And researching too.
You didn't research your spines or your licks. I tell you what.
That's right, my guy. That's right. Remember, vote for this in the Pulp Factory Award.
Woo!
Tasty.
So there.
You vote to say tasty.
Did you see it, Eric? Did you see it?
nope, I was looking at Clyde. Like,
We
focus
all
on
ought to get a
Clyde.
book
Focus
now.
on
And like,
Clyde. Focus on Clyde.
All right,
Eric will have
everybody,
nowhere to run.
Nope, I'm going to look
Ooh.
at Joe.
look at this.
Oh God!
One day I want to see Brian get a paper cut and blood just starts.
Keep the ketchup packets ready.
How do you get paper cut from a spine? That's impressive.
That would be good. No, what I gotta do is like put a
Comics
fake
All-Stars have
tongue in
those
my mouth,
perforated stuff now.
like a Halloween thing, and then next thing you know, I mean, doing this, and it's like, you know,
Get like on the screen so it's like 3D.
maybe the little squib,
Yeah.
little blood thing, then just have that like pouring out my, down my face and everything. I'll look like Master Ron Fitzgerald. It'll be great. So,
Nice.
and
Well-
Sarah likes this one.
There we go.
That's why Sarah and I are friends. Anyway, so I think we've solved all the world's problems tonight.
I think so.
Yeah.
For the week.
Got it taken care of. So,
Yeah.
For the week, we can adjourn.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, I think we got to, while we're still under the 3-hour mark, we'll call it a night. And I know Eric has to go. You're doing your drawing show tonight, Eric?
Yep.
What are you
doing?
gonna doodle?
Winnie the Pooh, Demon Slayer, Demon Hunter.
Yes.
Ah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's on
That's
Kickstarter.
awesome.
I think it's on Kickstarter. He's already raised like $5,000, I think.
I mean, that's appropriate for that title. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That's nice. I love it. Well, tell you what, let's go around the room. We will start with Eric, then Joe, then Brian, then Clyde, and tell everybody how they can keep up with you and why you're so darned impressive.
I'm Eric Hawkins, and I once had Art show up in Wizard,
I'm going to have him sign mine.
which is so ugly now to look at it. Oh, it's so ugly. I'm the creator of the Zombie World of Oz, which issue 5 will start crowdfunding late April. I'm currently working on finishing the pages. I'm working on building the Kickstarter page. It's just like nonstop, and trying to do commissions in between there. So commissions will be dropping off real quick here, and I'll just be working on the Kickstarter page this weekend. Hopefully, get approved to get the pre-launch site up by Monday, as long as they don't put a hold on me like they did last time. And then be a month of crowdfunding in late April and May. So that's it. You can find me all right here. All my links and stuff, and I'm scooting out because the other show is already filling up, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you, Eric.
All right. See you later.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Joe?
Yes, and I'm up here getting ready for C2E2, which happens this month on the 31st, April 1st, April 2nd, where you could get books like I mentioned before, like Primetime Saturday Night. Or if that's not your cup of tea here, we will have all the Amazonia books there too. This is just issue number 7. Like I said, issue 7. So yes, there are seven plus books. We're going to be working on issue 8 later on this year. And if you've been following me on my YouTube channel, you would have known that we are working on issue number 4 of Primetime Saturday Night as of right now here. So yeah, I've been busy rocking and rolling everything, trying to get everything ready. And guess what? We're going to also have graded books there as well for C2E2. So there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. I hope to see you guys there. We're going to be at booth 748, if I remember that number correct, 748. And hope to see you guys there later on, and hope to see you guys next week here at Comic Book Spectrum.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe.
Yep.
All right. And Mr. Brian Rodman.
Hi.
Oh, that thing.
Uh-oh, he got something special to say, because look at the smile.
Not really. I'm just being goofy. I'm Brian Rodman, and I made it alive through the whole show.
Yay!
It doesn't happen often, but it happened this week, and that's awesome.
It's the haircut, man.
It's got to be the fresh cuts. You know what I mean?
Less weight on your lungs.
That's it. That's science. But I am the creator, author, illustrator of the Nebulizer, which is in its final stages. The final edits are done. We have to finish making the backer page this week, probably tomorrow. I'll finish it up and send out the digital rewards this weekend. And we will be sending it to the printer as well. So yeah. We're getting there. I am also the writer and illustrator of Memoirs of an Angel comic book series, which we are making a pivot to prose, which I am knee deep into writing and illustrating the illustrated novel of Memoirs of an Angel, the Grey Pilgrim, which is book 1 in the Cosmic Wheel universe. That starts this summer. We're going to launch at the end of summer for that, and part of the book's already being edited. Cough, cough, Brian, you're amazing. Brian Morris, you're amazing.
Why, thank you.
And yeah, we've got some really cool things coming your way through the Cosmic Wheel universe. It's going to be awesome. Also, I launched a sticker brand last month called Mouth Breathers Incorporated. We aren't actually incorporated, but it's fun to say. And a lot of the we have 5 sticker designs right now, about to upload a couple more. One is a St. Patty's Day theme, and it's hilarious looking. And head right here and to brianrodman.com. You can find all the shenanigans that we're doing. And everybody loves stickers, right? Like, you got to deck all your stuff out in some kind of good sticker goodness. And Mouth Breathers is here for you. So, other than that, go vote for Clyde Hall and Pulp Reality number 4. I have a story in there, Midnight Mason. And Brian has a story in there, and of course Clyde does, because he is extra special and got nominated because he deserves it. So go vote for him. Vote for Pulp Reality number 4. Vote for help me, Brian.
Clyde Hall.
Nope.
Jeffrey Hayes.
Jeffrey Hayes. Thank you.
Graphics. When the look of your book matters to you.
Thanks.
Always promote your friends. Got that.
Exactly. Go, and then also before you're done, go back Grant Lankard's. Yes, go back Grant Lankard's book, Beowulf. It's awesome. I think this is issue 5. It's well on its way to being funded. The series is great. That's all for me. It's been a wonderful night. I love you all.
And we love you too, Brian. Thank you, brother. And now here he is, our gold standard, Mr. Clyde Hall.
Because who else could do stickers like this?
Hey, there you go.
I'm not only a friend, I'm a client. So yes, mouth breathers. Check them out. They are very
Those
cool.
are good sized stickers there.
They are.
Man. Only
And
the best.
I've actually got a coffee cup lined out with them, and of course it was dirty tonight, or I would have had it on the show. But I'll just show you the extra stickers that I got. But I'm Clyde Hall. I am an elder statesman of geekery, which means, except for Brian Morris, I'm older than dirt. I think Brian is older than like pre-dirt. I'm not sure, but
He's over the
Hot
dust.
magma.
I heard somebody talking about let there be light, and there it is.
I have never had anything published in Wizard Magazine, but I got a letter published in Famous Monsters of Filmland at one point. So, there's that. I'm also up for a Pulp Factory Award for my story.
Yeah, you are.
In Pulp Reality number 4. Pulp Reality number 4 is up. Anybody can vote. It is up for a Pulp Factory Award for the best anthology. It has won that honor a couple of times before because this bullpen is just that good, and I am very proud to be part of the artists and writers that are represented in Stormgate Press, who I am a contributing writer for. Also, Jeffrey Hayes, he is up for a Pulp Factory Award for the beautiful cover of Tim Bruckner's Major Marjorie. So we appreciate anybody who has read, seen our work, and wants to vote for us. Everybody can vote. It's wide open, but it ends on March 20th. So this is your chance to go check it out. And the handy dandy link right there. So I work at Stormgate Press. We have a new book coming out later this year. They have been doing the Pulp Reality books, but now we're going to explore some of the new pulp of the Old West. And I will be part of that new enterprise. Very proud to be included in the group with that. And also, you can find me on Comics Beat or The Beat. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. I do reviews over there. And of course, every Thursday night, I'm right here with all of the Comic Book Spectrum folks at 6 p.m. Central. Oh, by the way, don't forget to spring forward this weekend, so that you don't tune in. Yeah. So that you don't tune in next week to CBS and go, "Hey, they've already done all the reviews. They're already going."
Made it till Thursday. That's impressive.
So be sure to change your clocks. Apply for, send in your application for the Time Lord Academy. Show them that you have actually beaten time by jumping ahead an hour. And we'll see you next week right here at Comic Book Spectrum.
All right. Thank you so much, Clyde. And I am Brian K. Morris, writer, author, publisher, editor, and former mortician's assistant. And yes, please cast your vote for Major Marjorie. The Jeffrey Hayes did this cover. Here is the link. Also, I have it on my Facebook page. Jeffrey's got this, and also the cover to Pulp Reality number 4, which also is up to join the first 3 issues as the next award-winning book from Stormgate Press, which you can find out more about at stormgatepress.com. And we've got a few more comments here. Sarah, thank you, hon, for being here. Mwah, great show. Thank you, darling. You helped make it that way. So awesome to have interacted with you guys. Way overdue. We're so glad you made it. And hello, Cindy Kemp, CKOEPP.com. Do check out that website. She is an amazing writer, amazing person, and she's home from class. So what happened to the stinking share button? I don't know. I have no clue. No one tells me. And did I show up right at the end? No, we're still going. We're reading your comments right now. And go, Clyde, go. That's right. And on the matter of Western anthologies, she's currently editing her tale. She's going to be in it. Yeah. going to be in it with Clyde, with me, and she's like, well, maybe I should rethink this. But anyway, no, she's going to be in that Western anthology. She's stretching. She's great. Again, CKOEPB.com. Sign up for her free monthly newsletter because it is amazing. You will be glad you did. You'll be happier after you read it than when you started. Seriously. But anyway, if you want to learn more about me, go to risingtide.pub where we have connections to all of our broadcasting, all of our books. You can order them. That's a link to Amazon through there. And personal appearances. My next one is at the SI Comic-Con in Benton, Illinois on April 1st. It's no joke. That's where I'm going to be. Go in the door, turn right, and there I am. We're going to have a whole bunch of new books that you have not seen before. Please come see us. Come talk to us. It's a great little show. You'll be glad you showed up for it. And let's see, and I'm currently writing a whole bunch of stuff that I can't talk about yet, but we're getting there. And Stormgate was brave enough to invite me to join the Western Anthology. Probably the best move they ever made, Cindy. We're glad to have you there. Seriously, we are now in good company. And also check out Animal Life from Cindy Kep through bearpublications.com. It's a fantastic game-lit comic that you are going to love. Speaking of love, we love doing this show. Please join us every week, every Thursday at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central Time. And also, while you're looking at things, check out my blog at patreon.com. These wonderful people are now subscribers to it. And also some of them are getting to read my current first draft flash novel, which is the sequel to Volcana, the 2015 Volcana Rebirth of the Champion. This one is Volcana, the Prometheus frame-up. And we'll be posting part 10 soon, hopefully the next week or two. And we're working at pace on that. But anyway, many of these people that you see on this screen also have their own active Patreon accounts. Please check them out also. But if you want to see what I offer you on mine, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And also, we are brought to you by Rising Tide Publications. The Terrors will be coming out later this year, along with the 10th anniversary celebration of Santastein, the book. It will feature the original stage play that spawned the book. And also, we are brought to you by Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
If you need graphics for your wraparound cover, or you'll also need some graphics to help sell your book on social media, and also maybe a trailer, well, contact Jeffrey Hayes, because he'll quote you some indie creator-friendly pricing, and you will be so glad with the result. You're going to find out why he gets nominated for the Pulp Factory Award. He is a great guy to work with and really affordable. That's Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And let's see, what else have we got here? That is pretty much, I think that's pretty much it.
How dare you!
Thank you, Greta. But anyway, we will be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Don't forget to check your clocks this weekend. And we will have more commentary and reviews for you. And also, don't forget our Facebook page for Comic Book Spectrum, where we have reviews and all kinds of folderol on there. Please check it out. You will enjoy it. And it's free. It is free. And let's see, we've got one more. And say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Thank you, Cindy, for being here. And we will see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum. Again, if you enjoyed any part of this show, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this show. It helps us with the algorithms, and it means a lot. So as always, folks, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. We will see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.